Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. Welcome to the Giant Bombcast, episode 829. I am your host today, and I am also powered by NZXT, Jan Ochoa. Joining me, co-captain of the ship. You know he's ready to wrangle chocobos if you need him to. Jeff Grubb.
Howdy, everybody. I am here. I'm ready. Mostly, I'm like thinking about getting to that PAX because I'm here with my teammate Jeff Backlar. Jeff Backlar, did you know that you're my teammate?
Wait, what? What are we doing?
You're playing N64 games.
What? Today?
No, not
in a
today.
couple weeks.
Wait, where? Oh, this is what you were asking me about NES versus 64. I like NES better.
Okay, well then you're going to be playing NES games against Mike Minotti. Never mind.
Oh,
but it's more funny though if we make you and Mike play against
Yeah, you're
each
probably
other.
right. All right, congratulations. You're back to the N64.
that
Jeff
was
Backlar.
fast. I don't understand. What am I doing though? Like what?
I don't know. Dan Doko Dare Live. Dan's going to come up with a bunch of challenges in these games, so we got to do them. We'll see.
Okay, whatever.
And no one's going to have fun except for Dan.
No, Dan's gonna be
And
there.
Mike.
I didn't hear that name. Here, ready to ski down the slopes of video games and video news and emails and perhaps movie talk. Jeff Backlar.
Hey, what's up? Listen, something fucked up going on in the front of my house right now.
It feels like there's always something happening.
I
in front
know
of your house.
there's a lot of activity in New Jersey. There's this is I don't know what to do. I have a column in front of my house, and I think there's an animal in it, and it can't get out.
Is this
Okay, fun.
Is
And
this
I
a
don't-
euphemism?
Nope, this is all
I hate when I
literal.
get animals in my columns. You know
There's
what I mean?
there's like sheet metal that wraps around what's presumably some sort of like iron or concrete column.
Marble. You have marble columns.
Definitely
Jersey,
not
come on.
marble. Maybe next door, but not me. And there's something in it, and it's been trying to it's like flapping around. It's a squirrel or some sort of bird. I guess it got in through like the top where there's a little opening,
Okay.
and it's rattling around. And what do I do? It's gonna die in there.
Yeah, it'll die in there, and then it won't be a problem anymore.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just feel bad. Like, is this something I need to do something about?
do you- what,
Presumably,
you gonna
there
take
are
your
tons of
column out?
animal corpses in there, and eventually it'll rise up to the top where they won't get trapped in there anymore, right?
It's like the cream.
Is that
Cream and dead animals rise to the top. That's
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Okay. Introducing folks. We've come up with a new face, a new name, a new persona. He's not team captain of the team, though. Tam and I had a separate meeting to discuss this. That he's probably going to feel like he is, but he is not the team captain of the team, and neither is Tam or myself. We have Earl.
I mean, it sounds like there's a vacancy for team captain, then, is what I am hearing. That's right. I don't know who else is on team. Yeah, so I assume it's the Jeffs and Dan versus team Tam,
So-
Jan, and Earl? Come
No.
on.
It is Jeff, and Lucy against
Lucy.
Tam, Jan, and Earl.
Oh, because it's Dan. Dan's like the host. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
oh?
So, and like we're all competing like against consoles. So I have like an NES opponent. Is what's
Yeah,
happening?
NES pack, and it's me. That's what it sounds like. Yes.
Question: When did you guys?
All right, go
When
ahead.
did you guys
Yes.
do this?
He says it's going to be like the basic one, so that's going to be a lot of Mario, Mike. And we both
Oh, shit.
lost the last time we played Mario. So,
Yeah, you're
What-
pretty good. You're better at 2D Mario than me. But
and
like,
Mega
don't
Man's
be a-
not on there, and I'm going to keep it that way.
When
so I
was
don't
this
Mega Man
decided?
on
What,
there.
how-
Yesterday.
oh, okay, that's fair enough. Okay.
I
Cool.
was dead set of like, all right, we need to establish these teams, and then by Wednesday establish a team name so we can make up fun shirts, because I want fun shirts, and then I want the drama of Tam, Earl, and I fighting over who's team captain. So we all have like the C patch on
like
us.
it.
Right.
That's the internal drama, and I also want promos against
Yeah.
each team. Is why.
Oh, I can
So-
cut a promo right now. I don't even care. It's
Well, hang on
easy.
real quick. This is our panel at PAX. It is called Dan Doko Dare. It is going to be like a competition. It's going to be a team versus team, a sort of relay race, kinda. And we're gonna have different packs challenges. That's going to include the NES, Super Nintendo, N64. We're just gonna do all this stuff on NSO since that's easy. And then there might be some other like bonus challenges that involve other things. We'll see. Dan's putting it all together right now. He sounds like he's having a lot of fun. This one is the Saturday night one. I can't remember which one
I
this
think
is.
this may be the Friday night one.
Okay, the Friday night one. Thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
The X factor here, though, that we have yet to factor in is how Nikki will contribute to the chaos, because
Yes.
Nikki will also be at PAX East helping Dan make Dan's dreams come true. So I'm a
Oh,
little
wow.
terrified. I'm a
Yep.
little terrified. Oh,
Dan
okay.
doesn't dream.
He just does. How's it going, boys? What's happening? What's
It's
popping?
going good. It's
Yeah.
going real good. Yeah, absolutely. No, actually, I played so much Balatro over the weekend that
Oh my
I
God, so
did
did I.
think it was unhealthy. Like I legit started thinking that it was an actual problem and like force shoot problem.
No, so this is interesting because I feel that way too sometimes, and I think it's only because this game has like casino gambling
Yeah,
game
maybe.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
Because what we play a lot of games all the time. I don't feel guilty about it. I played a ton of Hades. I never felt guilty about it. I played more Hades than this. Never felt guilty about this. But suddenly there's like poker chips, even though there's no real money, and I play for an hour. I'm like, this is kind of like a sin that I'm doing over here.
It's not even a lot of money. I mean, I don't, like you only win like $15 at a time. Like,
You don't win any real money though, so it's not like it's nothing to it. There's no reason for it.
Yeah,
to matter.
the only thing you're losing is time. And you know,
Yeah.
as Mike and I know, I'm sorry, Earl and I know, time is a valuable thing.
that's the greatest sacrifice, I guess. I still don't know if like there's still a lot of Balatro that I don't even like have a like.
Get all
real
red
good-
cards. That's called a flush.
No. I understand the rules of poker and I understand the deck building manipulation that this game provides. What I don't understand is some of the perks to some of the jokers. Like I'll read a lot of the descriptions and then I'll be like, oh, I understand the multipliers, I understand the extra chips, I understand some of the other rules, but then it'll get into like if you choose the blind and then have a tag, and I'm like, I don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck.
some of
I
it gets
don't,
complicated.
I don't know what that is.
The more you
Like,
play it, the more you just pick up on all
Yeah.
the specific nouns and verbiage and all
Right.
that stuff. Yeah.
So-
early
so the-
on though, just play for fleshes and you'll be fine. Hey Jeff, you win yet?
No.
Yeah,
No,
won a
I've not
bunch.
won either.
Here's the
Oh, I
thing.
win all the time.
I've
Oh,
played an
cool.
I
obscene
won.
amount of this game too. I've yet to win.
Well, I didn't know I was better than all of you as like a
Yeah, but
person.
it doesn't sound like you're
Fun
having
time.
fun though. It sounds like you're.
Do I look like I'm not
He's having more fun than I am, I think.
It sounds like you don't have a problem though, and having a problem is kind of fun.
Yeah, I did win an addiction, so that's something. I did win something to talk to a doctor about. That's a great
cool
thing.
though.
I
Yeah.
want to talk to my dad. You can give him money that he'll give to me later.
And yet Mike wins again. Shit.
It just always comes back to me.
So
I'm gonna call you the house from now on.
Bacalar. A blind is like the round that you were playing, right?
Sure, that I know. Yeah.
So like,
and then
there's
the
something told to
tag.
set off when you pick the blind, you'd be like, okay, now you get 2 common jokers if you have
Okay,
space.
so now it's okay. Sure. Okay.
But I don't
also-
understand the tag one. That one I would like
Oh,
you guys to
now-
explain to me.
Yeah. What's the tag?
The tag one is like the little bonus you get when you
Oh, the
skip-
badge. The little badge.
Yeah, so when you-
Holographic.
when you skip the blind, you get the tag, and sometimes the tag
Oh.
will be like, oh, you'll get 2 Arcana packs, or you'll get like a free reroll on the boss, and that's what the tag is.
Right.
think-
So the one that says like you'll like sometimes when you skip a blind, it says, hey, you'll be able to carry this tag forward
Yeah.
or whatever. So you get like the next tag happens twice.
Yeah, so if in your small blind, which is the first round or the first instance in a round, right? And that says you'll get a double tag if the next tag you acquire will happen twice.
Okay. All right. I understand it now. Thank you.
No worries.
I feel like I get a little too precious with my jokers as well, and I try like
Churn and
I don't
burn,
s-
baby.
Yeah, I don't sell them back enough. I also like I see something like with the planet cards and it's like, oh, you want to level up 4 of a kind? And it's like, motherfucker, I'm never getting 4 of a kind.
You'll-
I don't need that planet card, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you'll get, if you start going for four of a kinds, if you
Yeah.
start building your deck in that way,
You're right,
you're gonna
you're
get
right.
them all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
And really, that is like when I've got the closest to winning is really min-maxing to the point where it's like, okay, I do have almost half of my deck are kings, and I have the thing where every king I have in my hand is 1.5x, and then I have one that's going to set them all off again, and I got really close, like, but that I missed out. And it's like all about like believing that once you start going down a path of like, okay, maybe I can actually set it up so I'm getting straight flushes if I'm willing to discard until like, ride or die. Obviously, it's still a little bit of a risk, but if you build your deck in that way, you can really amplify the chances in such a way that it feels much more possible.
You definitely have to have the right jokers, and like those multiplier jokers are very important. It's also important you can organize your jokers. It's important to
Yes.
have the multipliers at the end after just like the normal mults or whatever. By multipliers, I mean like the times twos instead of like the +4 multiplier. It sounds confusing, and I didn't understand the difference for a while. The other thing too is like those rewards for skipping blinds sometimes actually are worth it. You need to pay attention to those.
Yes, I started doing that a lot, and that's that means sometimes I'm burning out much quicker, but then the runs that do go are much more successful.
Like sometimes there's ones like everything from the next shop's going to be free. I'm like, well, I always take that skip.
Yeah, I
blind
mean,
in.
what the whole point of trying to win around is get enough money to buy stuff. So of course you just do that.
Like a
one,
free
yeah.
Mega Arcana pack. Like, okay, yeah, I can skip for that.
Yep, or if a free like Joker pack, it's like, yeah, Jokers are going to be the things that make the biggest difference. So yeah, go for it.
So, when y'all jump into an instance of Balatro, do you have your specific strategy in mind, or are you kind of trying to adapt as you go?
I do, and that's when I find that I'm failing the most. If I have something I'm trying to recreate where I'm like, God, that was so much fun, and I got so close, and I almost won. I just want to have that king deck again that I was talking about, and it's like, it's like that's actually the most random part. Like getting a 4 of kind during a hand, you could sort of fudge that. You could force that to happen. Yeah. Getting the right jokers, there's 150 different jokers, right? And like you're unlocking more all the time. So as the more you play, the less likely it is you're going to be able to build the exact build you want. So you really do have to start just going with the flow, seeing what's working, and then start moving in that direction and kind of play along with the game. At least that's what I found so far for me.
I will say early on, I think the most likely strategy you're going to stumble onto is flushes, because there are just a lot of tarot cards and other things that make it easier to set up flushes. And you can kind of early on figure out what suits you're going to favor and try to make that work. In fact, it was almost a problem for a while where I kind of felt like all of my good runs were flushes.
Same.
Eventually, I was discovering other strategies and like getting weird jokers that were making other things work.
Yeah, something that I think I fell into the trap way too long of hunting for flushes and straights and ignoring virtually any and every other type of hand.
Yeah.
And then last night I got all the way to the very last boss, and I was maybe like 5,000 chips short. But my winning stuff,
my closest one too.
Oh God, my winning combination was 3 of a kind, because the end multiplier, I leveled it up.
Did you have that half joker that like if you only play 3 cards, you get like a multiplier?
Yeah, that's a cool
stuff?
one. That's a cool one.
Yeah. That was one of them. And then I don't know if the math still counted with it, but no, I guess it didn't count actually, because that's why that joker was just not dinging or getting the extra bonus. It was the joker where you get like a plus multiplier if there's a pair in the hand, but since it was 3 of a kind, I don't think it was ticking off.
It doesn't count
holographic.
a pair, yeah.
Because it was holographic, it still had the other like multiplier over it, so that's why I didn't ditch it.
I would also like, the flush strategy is definitely the one I played the most early on. Absolutely. I would, when I started shipping things around, I was like, you know what, I'm going to just try to see what happens if I can maximize my return on pairs and even high card. And so every time I would get a planet and the option to choose either up to upgrade my pair or my high card, I would just keep doing that. And I had like level 7 or X7 or X8 on these. And I was also doing the every chance I had to turn something in my hand into a steel card, which is that 1.5x. So it's like I'm holding all these things in my hand that can amplify it. I'm playing a high card, and then it's like getting that big multiplier, and it's like, no, that was huge, and I'm like, it really is going off like a slot machine at that point, where it's just making all those sounds because you're getting so many things happening at once. So it's like, there is no like, oh, you should definitely be going for flushes or anything like that. You could make just about anything work, but again, it's a roguelite. You got to go with the flow.
You
Yeah,
know,
that
with
would
all
be,
this, Mike, please
really
go ahead.
easy. Sorry, it'd be a really easy and fun competition. Just had a lot of people playing to see who can win or run first.
Right. So like it has the seed thing. So we can all take the same seed and we can just all start at the same time. So it's like we can even guarantee we will have the same exact kind of luck.
Yeah.
And we can just do that all at the same time. We can all have like it can
4
look like
screens up.
Tetris 99. Yeah, just have everyone's Balatro screen
That's
up at the
sick.
same time.
I love that.
What I was thinking is
We're probably gonna do this next Friday, everybody. That's the plan right now.
What I was thinking is we do that idea, but then we preview the first round, right? So we'll see whatever blinds there are, whatever tags, and then like the boss. So then you can kind of like prep mentally for what that is.
I like
and,
that.
Whoever is like coming up with the seed tanks it purposely.
Yep.
We all start anew. I feel
I like that a lot.
Funky
That's
jazz
sick.
happening. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
My ulterior motive is, and I don't know how the grand calculus of the universe is working out in my favor, in that a lot of people are now learning poker hands.
Yes. Nikki discovered what was it a flush today?
Yeah,
I learned about.
Wow.
Yep. So, when we all get together, perhaps maybe in a PAX East or maybe
I'm so
Summer
ready
Game
for it.
Fest capacity, maybe we get some underground GB Texas Hold'em games popping.
Yeah, God, I mean, so we're like Final Fantasy's happening later this week. That's why we're like moving this Balatro idea out to next week. And I'm like, but I still want to just have a giant bomb poker night. So
Is
Maybe we
poker
do.
back?
It's back, baby.
I think it's coming. I think it's like having a high tide moment.
The tastemaker right here,
Yes,
folks.
Jan did it.
I'm not
You-
going to take any creds. But
You addicted it into popularity, which is amazing. Like, what will you do next?
there you go. Like, Mr. Influencer, whoever, cut the check. I'll do it. I'll influence everyone. We got this. This is why I think I could lead a cult, and that's a downside of this.
Yeah, I'll join your cult. Jeff, what's going on with your microphone?
It's not. It really is not. No control over it. It's not happening on my feed. It's just when I send it to Jan. I don't know. It's
Why is
turning
it-
purple.
It's all purple, audio listeners, and it seems to be getting more and more
Yeah,
purple.
it's taking over more of the screen.
It's really weird because in the preview feed I have of Grub on my he's just gone now. Okay, that got
Refreshing
rid of
this
the
video.
purple.
It's like trying to fix a CRT that I put a magnet to.
I think
It's
I
healthy.
think you're turning into like the Matrix
Help!
now.
That did it.
Yeah.
It like fixed it little
So,
bit by
I mean,
little bit.
If you want to like know what's happening there, it's almost certainly like the codec. It like tries to keep as many pixels the same as the last frame so that it can save bandwidth. And I think it just got confused somewhere along the line, and so it just needed a full reset there.
What a
And-
stupid codec. What a fucking
Yeah,
idiotic
this is why
loser
I do prefer the
codec.
Minotti codec. Yeah,
yeah,
It's
it's the
Matroska,
figment
Minotti.
of codecs. Yes,
Yeah.
certainly.
Well, here's the thing. A little peek behind the curtains, y'all. I've just wanted untangle us completely from vMix entirely and just rely on Obis. And a lovely user of the website, I forget your name. I know the user icon, oddly enough, but they suggested VDO Ninja. This used to be called OBS Ninja. And I remember Brad Shoemaker and I were just like with a pickaxe and like a shovel trying to figure this shit out pre-pandemic or like into the pandemic. And then we just kind of abandoned it and wound up using other shit. And now they've rebranded and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's working pretty well,
Yeah,
The-
some
the
brain
reason
pain,
why-
except for the blob taking over my life. But yeah,
The reason why I like it, Grub, when I can pick a codec for this room here, guess what codec it lets me pick?
Matroska.
AV1, baby.
Oh, AV1. Hell yeah. Oh boy.
Is that a good
Trust
codec?
it's just a
it's
shell.
a good
anyhow.
codec. It's a
Yes.
good codec. Anyone else have anything else to say about Balatro?
I mean, there's plenty to talk about. I don't want to spend the whole show on it. I think I played it for the first time on for like a long session on Steam Deck, and I was just like,
Good Steam Deck game.
thank you for this existing. It's phenomenal.
It's
on that
it
thing.
has 30,000 concurrent players on Steam. Like it is
Wow.
taking off.
Good for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. And it just, I mean, it really is that good. I mean, so Jane, when you first started talking about it, and I'm like, this sounds like it's going to be a good game, but not one that's like is somehow like that much better than any of these other like indie card games that pop up on Steam. Just because I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it probably has some pretty decent ideas in there. It's like, no, it just does everything right. It makes every choice to make it that much more fun to play. And I really do find it to be really impressive.
Yeah, I think what adds to it is just the snappiness and like
Yes.
how fast you can get in and out. And I think it's a testament to a good roguelike where if you fail immediately and then like the carrot on the stick is still there to just pick up another run ASAP, it's great. It's fantastic. This it like satisfies an urge that I has felt dormant and a void that has been created since I kind of got tired of playing Slay the Spire, just because of like that combat and just having this just be pure numbers and chance. Just like, okay, all right, feed me. There you go.
Snappy. Feed me
Great.
more.
Yep. I mean, I do have a game like Balatro about like once a year, it seems like, and it was, last year and the year before Vampire Survivors. But
Sure.
It does remind me how I felt about Dead Cells, a game I played like 80 hours of in a week when I was like really just going crazy for that game. There's a handful of other like these roguelites where it's like, yeah, just it like has a really good base gameplay, and then actually unlocking things is just as satisfying and really changes things up in some drastic ways. Have you guys gotten it to like any of the really crazy decks? I've seen some people use something called like an erratic deck, and it basically every time you not erratic, every time you roll it, it'll have like 7 kings and 10 fives, and then but it still only has 52 cards. So it's like you get it, you can see it, you're like, okay, I have to like really think about what the strategy is going to be. And it's like, oh, I have like 22 hearts. I really should just be going for flushes this whole time. So it's like, okay, I want to get to that point where I can really start like messing these runs up.
Yeah, I'm not that crazy yet. I unlocked the checkered deck, which is like your deck is only 2 of the suites instead of 4 of them. So obviously you're like really set up for flushes right away. Which just actually sounds pretty good instead of being wacky, I guess.
Yeah.
But unlocking, that's kind of like once you beat it once, the metagame becomes beating it with all the other decks because that unlocks more decks. Once you beat it with so many decks, you unlock challenge mode. I'm not even sure what that is yet. So there is like a reason to keep, just like, all these good roguelikes, there's a reason to go beat it beyond that first time. This game has that too.
Yeah, this has that. I don't know what it is, but I haven't felt similarly about a game since Hades, where it is taking me forever to actually beat and have a successful run, yet I'm still coming back in and just learning and adapting more and more.
Right. Yeah, I like roguelikes. I don't know if I like them quite as much as say like Grub, like Dead Cells and things like Vampire Survivor. Were like they're fine by me, and I like them. Hades was the one I really liked. This is kind of up there with Hades for me. This is just totally firing on all cylinders for me.
Oh yeah, like it is interesting like which hands will actually count. Getting a flush royale or whatever, no, a flush house, excuse me, where it's all the same suit, but it's 3 of a kind and 2 of a kind, and seeing that counts as something different than a full house or a flush. It's like, oh, it's a flush house, which isn't a real hand in poker, but it's one of the secret hands. And of course, like 5 of a kind. You would expect 5 of a kind to work, but it does, and that's cool to get. And then once you do that, you can actually start getting the planet cards to upgrade those as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't know if I'll ever get on a run where I'm like going to be expecting to get flush houses that often, but maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe.
that really successful run I had where 3 of a kind was really popping off. One of the planet cards I found was Black Hole.
Yes.
And it upgraded all of the hands.
Yes, that was really cool. I've
seen
gotten Black
yet.
Hole once, and I'm like, man, that was really
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
And I think similarly to like Hades is like, or probably Dead Cells more, is the discovery factor. And like whenever I'll see a friend post about Balatro and like their deck comp or whatever, I'm like, I've never seen any of that shit. Like Mike, when you're talking about that checker deck, never seen that shit.
Yep, never seen that either.
I love like discovering things I didn't expect to work. I got a Joker that at the start of each round would kill the Joker to its right and then take its sell value and add it to its multiplier. And I bought it at first for just some reason. I didn't even realize what it did and was mad at myself. Then I realized round I just bought a new Joker to feed it. And my multiplier from that got so large that it kind of took me through to a win there. So stumbling across these strategies that I didn't even consider is a lot of fun.
Oh God, Balatro is a lot of fun. We could honestly talk about it for like the whole.
Yeah, I mean, a game of the year contender. Absolutely.
Yeah. Really, really good month. You know what is surprisingly had? I was trying to work Ace up its sleeve. Arzette Jewel of Faramore. Mike, I seen that you've been streaming and playing this. Grub, I know you want to keep playing this.
I do want to keep playing it. Yeah.
I've completed this game. I think this is a work of art.
I completed it too. It playing through it just to beat it. It's probably only going to take you about 3 hours, and it's a really fun 3-hour playthrough. But there's like other stuff to get. You can do like a 100% thing. But I don't know. There is something beautiful about this game in terms of just if we were grading games on a scale of being able to do the thing that they set out to do, then this is a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Right? Like, hey, let's make a tribute to those weird, awful CDI Zelda games. It's still obviously have it be that, but actually have it play pretty well and be a lot of fun. It makes you think it's janky, and there are things about it that are janky, but it controls how it should. It's fun. The progression makes sense. The loop is good, and just all that animation.
Oh my god!
I get that it's a joke. Maybe not everyone will understand, but you should understand the joke. Just go and look at the cutscenes for those CDI Zelda games. You'll immediately understand the joke, and I think you'll be able to have a lot of fun with this.
I think, if anything, it is because I've never played through that original CDI Zelda. I've only seen like cinematics and stuff, right?
That's most people, yeah.
But I feel like Arzette has maybe improved that game in retrospect and kind of made me appreciate, I don't want to say the art, but like whatever the fuck it decided to be.
Yeah, because
it exists. Glad it exists. Like, they're awful. They look terrible. And I've been thinking about those games nonstop since I saw them at a CDI like demo kiosk when they were new. It's not like something that aged poorly. Even right when it came out, everyone was like, what the hell is this? And I think that their existence has enriched my life.
Yeah, and it's those games were like this huge promise, right? That switch to CD and video. And it's like F&B is the future and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, cool. What's that going to actually look like? Well, it turns out like, yeah, you can have this technology, but executing on filmmaking and animation was really, really challenging for these people that had no experience doing that. And then at the time, we were like, this just looks bad and silly. And most people, I think some people got it right away. Where like, this is awesome. This is like punk rock. But at the time, I was definitely like, this looks bad. I'm like, why would I care about this? You guys are doing a bad job. And it turned out, no, they were just making like, well, it was bad, but it was like this whole other aesthetic that now I fully miss. And I wish there was more of it. It kind of reminds me of Bram Stoker's Dracula, where it's like Francis Ford Coppola was like, hey, I'm going to save some money. So we're going to make this movie as if it's like an old movie with like really not cheap looking, but like really obviously fake sets. Like it's almost happening on a soundstage. And you're supposed to know that because it's a movie that's spiritually from the 1930s. It's like, this is like in that same vein where it's like, we're just going to start drawing stuff because we can, and we don't necessarily know how to do that and make it look like a Disney film. So we're just going to start drawing the next frame and the next frame. And then once they get, 1,000 frames of the animating, they look back and they're like, this looks messed up. It's so warped and weird. And it's like, well, since then, we've had this whole style of animation on Comedy Central and Adult Swim that feels informed by that. And so now I have this huge amount of nostalgia for that era, and to have Arzette come along and like fully understand that and grasp that and have a ton of fun with it is like really fulfilling.
I think the beauty part of Arzette is that it is obviously inspired by the CDI Zelda stuff, but it's totally not paying attention or honoring any type of animation, framing, cinematic rules at all, and it just throws all of that out a window. Like, instead of cutting to like the next character, they'll just slowly start sliding into frame, and like they'll be looking at you, the player, and you're just under the pretense of like, are they talking to each other? And then like out of nowhere, like one will cartoon style like run away to the foreground and then come back, and none of it matters to the actual scene that is playing out, to like the level, right? Like the one that a lot of folks probably saw after UPF is just that wolf just howling, and like the wolf just skedaddling away after you give him citizenship to the town. Yeah. It's just so fucking fantastic. Also, like the voice acting, so overdone in the best way possible.
Right. Yeah, and they got some like people from kind of all over the place in the industry. MVG's in there, John Lemon's in there doing voices. So uh it's just a lot of fun. You have a freaking Hotel Mario mini game just furthering the CDI madness. Yeah, I think it's just really impressive. I hope we get more games like this. Like,
Yeah,
I want to
same.
see somebody try to make a good version of Mortal Kombat Mythologies, and I still want like cheesy, cheap live action cutscenes, and I still want it to basically be an action 2D game with fighting game controls. But now we can kind of make that better and still
Yep.
capture that the stuff that is good about that game, the
Yeah.
cheesiness and the hokiness.
I feel like we were getting some of that cheesiness and hokiness in the 360 era with like the Xbox Indie Arcade stuff. Like I remember some god awful, terrible 2D fighter platformers that still had a little bit of merit to it.
Right.
That given a little bit of zhuzhing, we could get to the same caliber of mythologies.
It turns out, I mean, if you think about these things for long enough, it's still they become a part of you, whether you like cared about them in that way in the first place or not. And so when someone's like, "Well, here, I've been thinking about it for a long time as well, and I'm going to make something that's basically that," it feels like you're making this connection with this whole other era and these other people who fully appreciate these things the way you do, and that's really nice. I mean, honestly, like FNAF is just kind of like Night Trap, right? I guess I haven't played a ton of Five Nights at Freddy's, but I always thought it was pretty similar to the way that Night Trap worked. So it's like that's already sort of had a second life, and I want this to happen with all of those games of that era.
Bring back Sewer Shark.
Dude, Sewer Shark was my jam.
It rules. I played a bunch of it like last year because it was on that Sega Genesis Mini 2.
Yep.
And I'm like, I still like Sewer Shark.
I
I
mean,
don't care what anyone says.
I have very vivid memories of like going to the one kid who had Sega CD, going to their house and just like Night Trap, Sewer Shark, Night Trap, Sewer Shark, just that tandem for about 8.5 hours. Not really making any meaningful progress in any of it, just
No.
sort of like watching it because you thought it was weird that there was like full motion video and you're like 12 and that's good enough. And yeah.
Yeah, my friend had Willie Beamish, and we would play that. It's like most of the time we spent waiting for the game to load. 'Cause it was like 2-minute loading times every single scene.
Part of it's just because, there's a little bit of a stagnation, obviously, now in terms of the kinds of games we see. Whereas in the 90s, there was just so many different eras in that one decade that there is something wild about seeing this really short-lived era of these early CD games and kind of bringing that back and sort of optimizing it is interesting.
I haven't played any of this. I've watched all the videos on it. I am intrigued. I can relate to like the very quick flash in the pan, like time period that this is very much sourcing its aesthetic from. I think it's super easy to have missed this as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's I'll be interested to see how it does because of just how missable I think this era was for a lot of
niche.
people.
Yeah.
Right?
I think they probably know
They
when
know
they're making this.
of course.
Yeah, that it's like going to appeal to a certain set of freaks, and I count myself
Yeah.
among them.
Yeah.
What do the 20-year-olds think of it, I guess, right? I guess that's the question.
Because there is like a fondness about 8-bit stuff, right? In a way that like I don't know if that same relationship
same
gets
thing.
applied,
No.
right? Yeah.
Like most people are like would glance at this and be like, "Oh, that looks really bad. How much is it? Oh, $800. Okay. No, thank you." And then they just would never think about it again. And I was like, "Well, guess I'm going to be thinking about that for the rest of my life now." So I'm glad they made this game for me.
I want to play through the CDI Zelda now.
I always do too. I've been afraid to say it because then I'll never get them on Blade Club, but I want to. The
You're not
funny
gonna get
thing,
them on Blade Clubs, aren't they? Like pretty short.
yeah, but somebody here had to play a long game not too long ago. Yeah, maybe. Well, so there was 3 of them, and 2 of them are just like RZ. It's one you play as Zelda, one you play as Link. The third one you also play as Zelda, but it's a top-down game, like more traditional Zelda.
Yeah.
With all like live action assets and real bad loading screens, and it's
Right.
probably the worst of them.
It looks like the assets in the top-down graphical style are like just JPEGs pasted onto a
Yes.
screen. It's weird.
It looks very weird. That's Zelda's Adventure. The other ones are Link, Faces of Evil, and Zelda: The Wand of Gamelon.
Oh,
Okay, I can make up
constantly.
game names too,
No,
Mike.
I think about these constantly, Becco. That's why this is really hitting for
Well,
me.
that's the difference between you and I, but okay.
You don't think about Wand of Gamelon, Bacalar?
No.
Wow, fake
Turns
gamer.
out. I know.
Fire! It burns.
like what else is coming out mid-March that I could just dedicate some time on this website to playing?
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2
Yeah,
is
I'm
the next
interested
big
in
thing.
that.
Between then and now, I mean, you're gonna have to play Final Fantasy, I guess. But beyond that, we might be able to fit some time in there. I don't know.
Oh man, what am I signing myself up for?
Because CDI emulation is a little weird, but I think somebody like decompiled and remade at least the two Zelda games.
I think we can get it working.
We could probably get
figure
it up.
We'll
and
get
running.
it working.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
All right. Going from one beautifully hand-drawn game that is RZ to another beautifully hand-drawn game, not hand-drawn, I don't know, someone drew it. Unicorn Overlord. I checked out the demo, and folks, it is fucked up. It is fucked up that the whole industry is doing this to me. They gave me infinite wealth at the beginning of this year. And then they gave me Persona 3 Reload. And then I thought, like, Persona 3 is not for me. And then I stuck with it and realized, oh, it is for me. Okay, there's a dog in this game? What?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like,
Did you almost did like the Tim Allen grunt there.
I don't, what am I becoming? And then FF7 Rebirth comes out. We'll talk about that in a few. That game has absolutely destroyed me. This might be it, folks. I might be done with games after this game. Because Unicorn Overlord, if I were to distill it, it is a RTS auto battler. That's it. But done in the beautiful, gorgeous style that we all know and love from Vanillaware. How it works is, God. So you get a level, a map, and then from there you deploy units, and those units have different tile formations. So you have up to, I believe, 6 units per tile set. And then with that tile set of units, you can deploy them to go anywhere across the map. Sometimes you have to get them to take over or reclaim a town, or sometimes it's just to wipe out enemies. So you can divide and conquer, or you can set your groups of units to go in the same direction. And one group of units may be a little bit faster because they're on a horse versus on foot. And then once you get to the battling against the enemy units, if you are close enough in proximity, your two friendly units, you can swap them so you can kind of do a leapfrog. And how the battle works, it's all automatic. The only thing you do is set the formation of your specific units and set their abilities. So how the turns play out is that there are active points and there are passive points. Everyone exhausts their active points first, and then their passive points pop off if the conditions are met. So say when you enter in a battle, your first person's active point is to automatically hit the first enemy. Like they'll go and slash, and then it'll go in order from there of the active points. And then the passive points will trigger. So for instance, you'll have a passive point of like, all right, if any of my homies are hit, I will automatically heal them. Whoever gets hit first, I will automatically heal them. And that applies for the enemy units as well, of like, all right, if we get hit, we're all going to guard up, or I will automatically guard for you. And then it just starts popping off from there. And, in late game Final Fantasy Tactics, or even Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, where the encounters are almost playing themselves because you've gone to a point where the abilities are just popping off after a while.
Yeah, like just setting up gambits in Final Fantasy 12.
Okay, yeah, exactly like that. You were just setting off gambits constantly and letting them play out and just seeing how they interact with each other. So after everyone exhausts their action points, whoever has the higher HP of that encounter will win the battle. And if the enemy has not been wiped out after that initial encounter, you have the option to strike them again, and all of your own action points will trigger off automatically first. So sometimes you'll take turns with priority with action points against you and the enemy. But if you are getting the first strike in after they've been weakened, you will you'll have priority there. And guys, it's fucking me up. It's
Why?
fucking me up.
What do you mean it's
Because
fucking you up? Everything
fucking me
fucks you up, Jan. What do you
I
mean?
know, but this
This
year
is special.
especially, it's fucking me up because it's like, yo, we got tiles, we got tactics, we got pretty 2D
Yeah.
people.
You're
Yeah,
such a
vanilla
People,
consumer.
it's all of them equally, isn't
Jan,
it?
you're just like the consumer. That's what
They
I'm gonna
got
call
me.
you.
Yeah,
got
yeah.
me.
Your consumerism is a problem, Jan.
Yeah,
I
you
would
ruined
never.
Christmas.
You're just the consumer. Like everything. It's like, well, shit. If no one wants this, I bet Jan will buy it.
Now,
It's true though. I
Because
like
that Unicorn
everything.
Overlord, a lot of people are wanting that. People
I
like
get it.
vanillaware games.
This looks so good.
You are Mr. Focus Group. You are just like, does Jan like it? He does. Print 1 million of them.
Grub, what was that JRPG we did a quick look of? a while
Geofield
back?
Chronicles?
Yes. This is like if Geofield Chronicles was more manageable with a controller and good.
and had an art
Okay.
style, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people in chat saying this is actually kind of like Tactics Ogre games, which I never really got to play, or Ogre Battle. I think it's the same thing. I never got to really play those. This looks so good to me that the only reason I think I don't want to play the demo is because I know I'm going to just buy this. Do you know if you can carry progress? I know it's a long demo too.
Yes.
Some people say it's like 8 hours worth just in the demo.
So I don't know if your progress saves over, but it did give me the option like an hour in to save. So I'm assuming that this will
Okay.
just help you skip
Yeah.
over the initial prologue stuff.
Yeah, chat says progress saves. Okay. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Vanillaware games are usually very good. I like 13 Sentinels a lot, and this looks absolutely gorgeous. I am totally ready to dive into this one. So I am excited to hear that you're really liking it.
Yeah, me too. I was like, okay, I figured it would be like, oh, good art, probably decent gameplay, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
The sound here, it's like really hitting for you is very exciting. You said the combat's kind of automatic. Is it automatic like into the breach where you are setting up the pieces and you know exactly what they're going to do and you're just like then hitting the go button and the things that you knew were going to happen? Or is it sort of more random and so you're kind of setting up contingencies like you said where it's like if you were to happen to get hit, someone's going to heal you? How much pre-information do you have before each turn?
You kind of run into both instances with that, Grub, because sometimes you will come across a new type of enemy that is let's say more susceptible to magic attacks. So maybe your first encounter with them was all of your melee units, so you're not really doing a bunch of damage. So you'll kind of have to set that melee unit to go somewhere else and send in like your magic dudes to go clean up shop afterwards. So there is a little bit of that. There is a little bit of experimentation of like, okay, is this going to work against these people? And then kind of like the Fire Emblem formula starts to kick into your head of like, okay, I recognize these units just by looking at them, so I'll send these dudes to go fight those guys.
Okay.
From my time with the demo so far, I don't believe there's any advantage to terrain. At least that's what for where I'm at right now. Who knows? That could completely change. And I think I was initially turned off because I didn't want an auto battler type of thing. But I think there is enough strategy still happening in your team comps, in your unit composition here to rectify that. There's still tactics happening. And I feel like Geofield Chronicles, I really liked the premise of it because it was an active-ish, turn-based-ish type of game.
Right. It was almost, I think it was like real time, but it was so slow it might have been turn-based. I think that was that one. Yeah, and I like that too.
I think the maps in Geofield Chronicles were a little bit too big, and since you only had 4 or 5 units,
slowly trudging across the map in some scenarios.
Exactly.
I hate that too.
Yeah, but I think this kicks into where a game like Fire Emblem or Advanced Wars even succeeds, where you have multiple units that you can fork off and still find success if you are planning ahead enough. The only thing I don't like about the game is that I just don't like the medieval fantasy setting. I think after 13 Sentinels, I was like, all right, let's go in a bunch of mechs. Let's eat some yakisoba and some hamburger steak.
Yeah, you sounds like you need a Fantasian game.
Yeah, I need a
Asian
fantasy.
God. Yeah, I couldn't. Oh my God.
I think I worked myself into a shoot with that one where it's like I originally thought that and I'm like, that's funny. And then at some point I like, no, that's what that is about, right?
Yeah, you guys missed Jeff on Gay Best Mornings asking Emma if the game Fantasian is a portmanteau of is a portmanteau or portmanteau. No,
it doesn't matter. You say tomato.
Yeah, but then is Fantasian a portmanteau of the words fantasy and
Asian?
Listen, I ask the hard-hitting questions on my show. I'm a journalist, Mike.
You're lucky you asked that to Emma and not to me. Emma had to be nice to you.
Seeing producer extraordinaire, host extraordinaire Emma Fife's eyes like slightly dim after you said that, and then thinking of like, all right, well, how am I going to save Grub? It was amazing.
If it's not, that's what it should be, because that's a good idea.
I would have said, what the fuck did you just ask me?
But like, if anything I've said about Unicorn Overlord interests you, definitely check out the demo. I also think the writing is really good as well,
Nice.
which I fucking hate, because then I'm actually gonna want to play the game to completion.
Yeah.
Gotta see how it ends.
Because here's the thing that gets me: I'm a fucking sucker for shonen style stories of like,
Sure.
well, all right, I'm the little orphan boy, and I'm gonna go make a bunch of friends, and friendship will be the thing to save us, guys.
Aren't
It's
orphans
like-
sad?
I mean, Annie turned out pretty
They
good,
got
and
no
Batman's
parents.
pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like the first big tutorial boss-ish encounter you have is just like with a dude that you used to know, and then before you're about to your knight friend is gonna kill him, the main character steps in and is like, wait, I need to know why you did this. Hey, so and so, do you remember when we used to play out in the fields and you used to watch and protect me? What happened, man? And then he like comes over, he gets over whatever brainwash spell he was under, and then everyone's like, oh, we're all friends, I love you. It's like, oh shit, this is what gets me.
Yep, that's Jan's catnip.
Oh, fuck. Just friends and tiles. Ugh, I hate it.
That would be the name of your game, Friends and Tiles.
Friends and tiles.
That's the autobiography for
Yeah.
sure.
God, and you have to read it out
Friends,
of order.
Tiles, and Crane Games, the Jan Ochoa story.
You can only buy it if you play the Crane game.
Oh,
boy.
That's
how we
actually-
stumbled at that.
That's a really good idea. I like that. My book's
All right.
available now, but only inside of Crane Games. I would have to go get that book.
Well, there's that Crane game in Persona 3, Jan. You've seen that, right?
Yes, of course I've seen that, Mike.
Did you get the Jack Frost dolls for Elizabeth?
I did.
I did. She
I
was
did.
very thankful.
I needed to do that. Well, we'll talk about FF7 in a little bit. But Jeff Grubb, you've been playing a game, and you were showing this to us in the mic pre-check here, called Window Kill.
Yeah, this just came out on Steam, and it looked pretty interesting. And it's actually this really neat thing where, just to give you an idea, when you boot up the game, the menu, like the opening, like splash screen menu, opens up in like 7 different little windows on your screen. And then the game itself is played in this moving, shape-shifting window. And when I say window, I mean like straight up application, a Windows application window.
This is cool.
And it shrinks over time. And what you need to be doing is you need to shoot the sides to bang out the side of the window to make it bigger so you have more of a play space. And you can move around. It's like Geometry Wars, basically. Like the basic gameplay is a slow-moving Geometry Wars with little geometric shapes coming to either hit you or to shoot things at you. You're avoiding those, and at the same time, so you could shoot those guys to get rid of them. At the same time, you're trying to shoot the walls to keep your window of the application growing bigger so you have enough space to move around. Then occasionally, a major enemy will come along, and you'll see like, oh, this is like a big laser beam coming from off screen. All right, I need to track that down. So you start shooting the window in that direction to move over to that part of your screen. And once you're there, this big enemy will be in his own little window that you need to like join up with so you can get over there and start shooting at him. And it's this really cool idea, and it's really well executed. I've only played a little bit. I don't know how long. Like, is this a gimmick that wears off relatively quickly? I played for a couple hours last night and a little bit more this morning. I think it's just a really cool idea. It has a shop. Like at any moment as you're killing these enemies, you get like some currency, you hit the space bar, you're going to upgrade your speed, your shot speed, like how much damage you're doing, all this stuff, your max health. So it's like very quickly you get into that loop of upgrading, and that was keeping it very interesting for me. But just the idea of the way it looks and the way it functions is immediately so eye-catching that I thought it was really well done.
This is just really clever.
It's clever, yes.
Like, it reminds me, if anything else, right? Like you said, like maybe it does, like, you know, run out of ideas or
maybe
become not fun. I don't know, but just seeing this and like just brings me back to like Windows 95 like shenanigans where you would just sort of like there's no way this game is not born out of that monotonous, like, you know, the shit you would just do in Windows, right? When you first like got that GUI, right? And you were just, that's how you were just sort of interacting with everything. This is really smart. This is very, very cool.
I think it's like $5 on Steam.
Yeah, $4.50 right now. It's on sale. This game both looks really cool and looks like one of the most Jeff Grubb-ass games I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, definitely. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, that looks like the kind of thing that's going to tickle my fancy. Turns out my fancy was tickled. Absolutely.
Good for your fancy.
Do you think you naturally put yourself at a disadvantage if you play this game with an ultra-wide monitor?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that. Yeah, or maybe that gives you like more space to work with. Because I wonder if like once you're in the corner, if you are sort of trapped there because you've moved all the way to that edge, and now if you're there, you got to like move back the other way, and if there's something there, you have nowhere else to go. So if you have more play space, maybe you have more play space. I actually don't know if it would go to this other, because I have a second monitor, and it didn't seem like it was like migrating up there. I wonder if that's something you could enable. Maybe that would be too frustrating. But either way, it's just like such this. Like as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, I get what they're going for, and then to play it and actually see that it works the way that you're imagining it works. Like that was the coolest part about it for me so far.
This game reminds me of like how pop-ups are like kind of all over your face in some movies and TV shows of people entering in computers. I don't like that this could be possible market research and how we have to fight off and click away from ads in the future.
They used to be much more dodgy than they are now. Like it used to be a much different experience, but I hear what you're saying, Jen.
I never feel safe clicking on any link as long as it's not on giantbomb.com.
Oh my God, I watched the whole thing about pig butchering last night.
What?
What?
Did you click on that link?
Do you guys not know what pig butchering is?
Is it?
I'm going to assume it's butchering a pig to eat its meat.
No, it's actually the most successful new like sort of like internet scam.
Okay, tell us about it.
It was on John Oliver last night, and as he does, he goes into great detail about like what it is. It's basically, it seems like a lot of these scams start, you know, when you get like a random text message that's just like, "Hey, you missed your doctor's appointment. You want to reschedule?" And you're just like,
I was going to say I have gotten a bunch of messages recently on my email where it's like, "Hey, there's a withdrawal from your account. Click on this Word document."
Oh no, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like much more social engineering. It's like you know, you get some completely unrelated thing, and they're just that's the first thing. Like the second you interact with that, they've got you on a hook, right? Mm-hmm. So people reply, and then like through that, like, no, sorry, I think you have the wrong text number or whatever. They slowly build a relationship with the mark, right? With the target, and slowly but surely they basically get them into. They start talking about money, but not necessarily asking for money. It's much more like cerebral and layered than like, I'm a prince from an African country, right? Like. Mm-hmm. It's building trust, and then it's basically showing you how to make money in crypto. And then people, right? Of course, look, you know, we all say it, and we're all like, yeah, of course. These schmucks who fall for it, like they deserve it. But the insane amount of like realistic experience of it all, like these people are building fake apps that show you like transactional wealth, and they like make you think you're running your own account. They're like, I don't want any money. They're like, but here's how to do it, right? It seemed very in depth and very like scary. I think, you know, people who are very online like have a sort of radar that would probably go off for stuff like this. And then it also got into like the people who are doing the scamming and how some of them are like working like slave workers, and they're being threatened. It's real. That story got real dark real fast, as it does, but that's what pig butchering is. It starts off, it's fattening up the little piggies, getting ready to and like the people that were scammed, the victims they had on the story, I mean, they were out like $200,000-$300,000, and they were like, hey, I know when I'm being scammed, and this was the most non-scam thing I've ever. It's wildly in depth.
It does make me. I am like at a point now where I'm like, any email I really don't recognize, any message I do not know the source, or I don't know exactly why they're contacting, which isn't great because like I don't keep track of like doctor's appointments. So when they are asking me to remind me about that stuff, and I'm being suspicious of that, that just means I'm missing a doctor's appointment. But I am getting more and more suspicious about that stuff because it does seem both more sophisticated, and also I feel like I'm not as vigilant at like, making sure 100%, like once I'm like looking at it, that I'm going to be very careful about it. Sometimes it's like, the email is putting the Word doc as a button you could just click. I like clicking buttons, and I'm like, if I'm going to be like that, I have to like put up a guard before I'm even like looking at these things in the first place.
So I mean, look, like I'm just having parents who use the internet is like upsetting, right? Where you're just like, my dad did a bonehead thing a while back, and hasn't really suffered any consequences from it, but like certainly walked over the line, and I had to kind of like grab him and sit him down and be like, "This is bad boy." I'm worried that our generation, the generation who grew up, the first generation to grow up with the internet, right? When is it gonna be like our number, right? Like when are we finally gonna be the ones? I mean,
we will
fooled,
be the
right?
easiest marks eventually, right? Right now, it's still our parents. So
I'll tell you a scam that came across me that Jan, you're in the clear for 10 more years. This scam was so good, and I caught it, and I was like proud of myself that I caught it, but it was so good that I was like, I think 90 out of 100 people would have fallen for it. It was so fucking good.
What was it?
So back in 2020, when mortgage rates had plummeted, right during the pandemic, the start of it.
Fucking house then.
I should have bought a fucking. I mean, look, let's not get into that thing. But yes, I could not refinance. It was insane what mortgage rates were at. So I started the process to refi. I went through this, broker, and it was the day to wire the closing money, right? So I'm on the phone with this person, and I'm like, "Hey, tell me the routing number, right? I got to wire you this money." Told me the wiring number. And she goes, "I'll also email it to you." And I was like, "Okay, great." The email I got was spoofed to look like it was from her. Now, the title agency's logo on the top of the email, the same domain. Okay? I was like, I call them back, right? I go, "You have a mole. There's someone in your company who is sending out fake emails, phishing emails. What's going?" And like, they were all like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, "I just got an email from your domain. Like, it's all the metadata is there. It came from you guys." Jeez. And it was a false wiring address. I would have wired 5 digits, right? Ugh. 2 worth of money to this place. What are we doing? And they were just sort of like,
my real estate agent mentioned that is something that does happen. I was like, "Oh," she's like, "I will call you to confirm anything before you send any money." I was like, "Oh, wow, okay, that's nuts. I didn't know that was happening." But
you literally have to like almost have to like go and see the person and bring a laptop.
Right.
You almost have to like have that person in your eyesight being like, "Tell me the number. What is the number?" I couldn't believe it. Like if anyone else got this email from the title agency, like you just talked to them on the phone. How could you expect someone at that very moment you hang up to send you an email that's fraudulent? Right then and there, within 5 minutes, the email came in.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So that just means someone's inside there, right? Like how else could you?
Someone like their network is desperately compromised.
Right, like and I was just like, "You guys are something terrible is gonna happen." I said, "Look, like I'm gonna report all this. I have to, just because I need to do something, because this was so appalling. And yeah, I don't know, but just be careful, especially wiring lots of money. You gotta be sure. Anyway, pig butchering. Let's go.
Oh, sorry. Oh, what the fuck is that? There we go. I killed it? No.
Are you playing Unicorn Overlord or Balatro?
Sorry. Okay, that got rid of it. Apologies, folks at home watching. Well, we have now gotten to the game of the week, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Folks at home, we had a lovely roundtable review cast discussion last week. Full house, actually, a full hell house. Sounds like also what almost happened to Jeff Backlar there. Where, Tam, Lucy, Emma, Mike, and Turbo Sean, and Grub, lovely moderating the panel. We're going over that. So if you want to hear some deep talk, some spoiler-free deep talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I highly suggest checking that out. But I wanted to share that this game is fucked up. This game is also fucked up. Fucking hate this game.
Hey, Backlar's right. Everything fucks you up.
Okay, Consumer Jan, tell us about it.
Wow.
Let me tell you why. What do we got? We got a lovely group of lovely people that think and feel with their feelings and their brains, and then they're all friends with each other, and then it's a fun story talking about eco-terrorism and just consumerism and capitalism and just wanting to just burn it all to the fucking ground and forgetting the past, not letting the past color your judgment. And also, Tifa's in this game.
I've heard this. I've heard this about this game. A Tifa's in it.
Yeah, it's kind of
I heard that we defeated the woke cancel culturists who are trying to keep Tifa away from us.
No, didn't you see people got mad because they rewoke it because
oh, that's right. Yes, they put a shirt on her.
They put a shirt when Tifa's underage in a flashback. They put slightly less cleavage on her, so
yes,
it's woke now.
That's right. The woke are back. Never mind, everybody. Yeah, cancel the parties.
All right. Well, but also I just wanted to say that, God, this is the best Kingdom Hearts game ever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like this is what Kingdom Hearts always should have been. Nomura should have let me control Donald and Goofy from the get-go and make those party members actually useful. Give me direct control over them, or at least issue commands. Because I really enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat system, and this is pretty much the same, but the added improvements are fucking absolutely amazing. In terms of it feels like a rhythm game at points where you get into a boss encounter. The bosses in this game, fucking love them. I love fighting the summons. They're so good, Mike. And then just being able to fire off insane combos with the crew. And I feel like this is I ran into this with Like a Dragon, where I wound up not using some party members just because I didn't find them useful to my playstyle. I love how everyone controls here. Everyone is so diversified, and this game will do the thing where it kind of forces control over specific characters in some story beats. And I don't mind it at all. I enjoy it because it gives me a deeper appreciation and figuring out the mechanics there. And also, I will not stand for some Yuffie slander out there, y'all.
Yeah, let's go. Yuffie Defense Force right here. Shut up, Dan.
Shut up, Dan Reichert. I have no dog in this fight. I don't care.
Oh,
it's also the most fun player to play as, actually. I played as Yuffie, maybe even more than Cloud by the end of the game. She was just so useful with all of her elemental attacks. And God, later on she can make a little clone of herself. So you're kind of doubling up on stuff. And it is very fun.
Mike, how have your thoughts and feelings on FF7 evolved since we spoke last about it?
Not just that, I think it freaking rules. I think it's great. I think it's the best game with the words Final Fantasy VII in the title. I absolutely love it. I'm very excited for more people to play it. I haven't played it since the deadline just because I played so much of it in a dense period of time. But I really do want to get back in there and kind of 100% it. Largely because I don't care about platinum trophies, but this game has a sort of in-game trophy shelf case that you get for completing tasks, and that's what I care about. And there's a fucking treasure chest that you can only open when you get all that stuff done. And I'm like, well, what's in there? there's got to be something good in that treasure chest. What are you hiding in there? I gotta see it. Reminds me of completing Jiminy's Journal in Kingdom Hearts 2, so I could unlock that movie that I could have just watched on early Google
Yeah.
videos back then or whatever. But no, I gotta
On real
gotta do it.
media stream players, yeah.
Right, exactly. No, I just love it. And I've seen the reviews have been very positive, and I've seen even the small complaints people have, and even some of them I can kind of agree with, and a lot of them I even don't. I love all of the mini games. I love that this game seemed to have a mandate of we're going to have so many mini games because that's something that Final Fantasy VII wasn't known for. So we're just going to blast players with it. And I love that. And some of them are just kind of like simple, like, it's like a normal fight, but you have to do these things. And then other times it's like you're playing a completely different game.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to freak out over Queen's Blood, I think. I can't believe how much fun Queen's Blood
Is Queen's Blood the kind of thing where if they did a standalone game, would you play it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They could absolutely Gwent that shit up.
Yeah, Gwent
And,
is what the industry calls that.
Gwent.
Yeah. And maybe be smarter, like don't expect it to like what they did with Gwent. Like this is going to be like Hearthstone. We're gonna
Right.
Hopefully supports for 5 years. Just make a really good product that can maybe have a couple expansions. I don't
Right.
know. And so for $10, and that'll be fun. Yeah, I definitely want more Gwent in my life for sure. Not Gwent,
Yeah.
Queen's Blood.
And I was actually on the other side of Queen's Blood initially by the time y'all were talking about the game last week, and then spending some more time in Queen's Blood and unlocking some more booster packs and cards. You can get really fucked up in that game in Queen's Blood specifically in such a good way, where you absolutely bone the computer opponent, where you almost feel bad for how much you
Yeah.
are dominating because. Just how some cards will work with a board, you wind up behind enemy lines, and it's so good. It's so good.
Right. And you can really like position. It's about positioning and scoring, but positioning can really mess up the opponent's ability to score. It's this game that's both beautifully simple and complicated, and it ramps up in a really satisfying way in terms of that complexity. It's just very well executed, and it's a difficult thing to do with a card mini game, right? That's supposed to just be one component of something that we're doing inside this game.
And I am coming to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth from a similar position as Lucy last week, where I never played the original Final Fantasy VII somehow, despite checking out 90% of Final Fantasies. And just knowing most of or some of the characters and story beats through cultural osmosis over the years, and just meeting Cloud and company through Kingdom Hearts. But I'm enjoying everything about it, especially with the story. Tam and Emma touched on it. Part of the thing that I love about this story, where I'm at so far, I'm about like 30 plus hours in, and that's just me mainlining everything and occasionally dipping out for the side quest stuff or the side content. I love the relationship between Tifa and Aerith.
I've heard this repeatedly now that people
Very-
really adore this.
Very well done. And I
Like-
think that's. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just incredibly wholesome, and I feel like in games with big ensembles like this, sometimes these side characters just get swept under the rug in favor of whoever is like on the cover, right? Like in the process of finishing the story, no one cares about anyone else in the Cody Rhodes universe other than Cody eventually finishing the story. We've forgotten about main event Jey Uso in this, but here Tifa and Aerith and even Red 13, Barrett have such a heavy chunk of the story that you can't help but be invested in it. And I'm sure it's probably fun for someone, even more fun for someone that's played the original Final Fantasy VII. They're seeing how everything's reimagined and the different liberties that they may be taking with the story. Maybe, I don't know. But here, as someone just completely fresh to it, I absolutely love it. These feel like real characters and not just like one-dimensional characters that are just party members to heal you.
Yeah. One complaint I've seen about Rebirth and Remake is just from people who don't inherently like that they took one game and they're kind of making it 3 games, and to them it's like they're stretching it out. I think that expanding the story is doing a ton of good because you are getting things like an actual relationship with Tifa and Aerith. In a lot of RPGs, your party members will have a relationship with the main character and never with like amongst themselves very much. And expanding here allows a ton more of that, a ton more of development for all these characters and for a lot of other characters. Even some of these new characters from Remake get to come back here and have these fun moments. So I'm all for that, actually. I think that just expanding these games, because look, the story of Final Fantasy VII, like the actual plot of Final Fantasy VII, I don't know if that's what I ever liked about the game or most Final Fantasy games or most video games. It's really the characters, actually. So just having more character moments, that's what's going to make me happy. That's what I want. And that's what they 100% take advantage of by smartly just breaking this game up into these 3 chunks and being able to really dive in. I mean, just think about in Remake how Jessie suddenly became this interesting character, and they play off of that, right? You have moments calling back to that character here that are really impactful that just could not exist in the original game.
I think I got to that moment, or maybe it's one of those moments. And as someone that really, really fell in love and became very thirsty for Jessie in Remake, it was a very strong gut punch that I didn't think the game would be able to deliver to someone that had only played Remake prior to this.
Yeah, it's great, and I get yelled at sometimes for this, but I think that the original Final Fantasy VII kind of becomes less interesting because halfway through, because the plot really loses focus on all the Shinra stuff, which is so important at the beginning of the game, to just kind of focus on Sephiroth wanting to summon a meteor and destroy the world because he's a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. And again, with like this larger format here, they're really able to make Shinra still feel like a much bigger part of the game, whereas they really begin to disappear into the background as the original game went forward and forward.
As someone who never played through all of Final Fantasy VII, I've definitely started it a couple times, had some fun with it. It doesn't, the stretching it out never really occurred to me. You can tell from a distance, like, no, they're just going deeper, and so they can do more with this. And also, these games are bigger when you make them today. So if you're trying to replicate a game from the 90s with like full, like cutting edge, state of the art technology, you're going to need to take your time, and you're going to have to like limit your budgets per game and try to get as much money out of it as possible. So that always made sense. What I've heard about this game that does have me the most excited about it is the stuff where it's like, it's about the characters and their relationships. That is like, you're right. That's what I come to most games for. It's what I come to most movies and books for. So the fact that they're nailing that here, and everyone that I've talked to seems to universally agree that that's the best part of this game, or one of the best parts. It's like, okay, I cannot wait to get into this and actually start playing it.
And I think the sheer audacity with a lot of the characters to just wholly be either super cheesy, super corny, or like super emotional, I think comes off as very authentic and earnest. I think it's part of the success of Infinite Wealth with me, of like, all these characters are just feeling their emotions and they're just like doing their thing, even if part of their thing is being very is overacting. And I feel like the extended cast of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really nails that. But the thing that fucking just sings is just playing the game as well.
Yeah.
The combat system rules so much. It's just so good.
Like it's the synergy abilities that you unlock, and just like the different combinations of those, and how like, almost any permutation of 3 of any of these party characters will work somehow and will work incredibly well. It's great. I really didn't enjoy playing as Aerith in Remake, but here, homegirl's firing off lasers, like orbital lasers, and it's sick as shit.
She really benefits from some of these new synergy abilities, because like one of them's just called Bodyguard. You just press a button and a character will kind of appear in front of you to defend you for a bit, because whoever you're playing as will often draw the attention of enemies, and Aerith's build is so caster focused, and she needs to kind of plant herself in a specific place and cast abilities. It can be difficult, so that stuff kind of makes it a bit easier to get a handle on her here.
And I don't find the game to be super mashy. Like super mashy games kind of like tend to give my hands like a lot of fatigue because of the tendonitis. Here, completely fine. It's completely great. I feel like I feel like a coach sometimes when I get the ATB gauges to fill out completely, and then we're just firing off abilities and synchro abilities left and right, and then like, hey, you know what? Let's throw a fucking summon into this shit. Let's do that too.
It's a small thing, and the last game did it. But I love that when you do like quote unquote pause the action to issue those ATP abilities, it's not a pause, it's a really slow motion, and it just
Yeah.
feels so satisfying every single time.
It's very good, and I can't wait for people to play it. And I don't want to spoil anything. I haven't gone to the very end, but I need to spoil something that is
God.
near and dear to my heart. And
Okay, everyone's been warned.
Yeah, so as soon as the 29th rolls around, as soon as like everyone is downloading and buying that game, I'm gonna tweet something out.
All right.
Yeah.
It's about a boat.
Boat adjacent.
All
they say.
right. Very cool.
What is the best method or best version, I should say, to play the original Final Fantasy VII?
Switch is
Probably-
great.
Which is great. There's something about the way that all those remasters look with the kind of smoothed out character models on the blurry background still. I bet the best version involves getting the Steam version with some mods. I bet there's like a really good mod pack that does some kind of like AI upresing on those pre-rendered backgrounds or something like that. So yeah, Steam with mods would be the way. And it's Final
Okay.
Fantasy 7. I bet there's a very easy guide on exactly what you need to do. I bet you'll
Oh,
still
yeah.
get a good experience if you just play that Switch version, sure. But yeah, that's what you need.
And you know, my specific use case is very specific because I have fiber where I live. But I've been playing through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth almost entirely through Chiaki for Steam Deck,
Wow.
and it is absolutely amazing. The only times where it feels like it's dipped a little bit or the latency has been suspect is through some of the rhythm games.
Oh yeah, sure.
But there's not a bunch of those. There's just like one specific portion where the story kind of puts you in that position. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and just seeing that shit right there and like almost falling asleep while someone's talking and then having that Steam Deck almost fall on my face.
Yeah,
Exhilarating.
that'll keep you alive. Put some hair on your chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about the stuff in Junon, I assume.
Yes.
See, it's funny because like I think that's one of the things what people are complaining about being forced to do mini games or complaining about. And again, to me, I was like, that's like one of the top 3 best moments in the game.
I like the lead up to it because of how silly and stupid it is.
So great, yeah. I absolutely adore that game so much. I'm again so excited for more people to play it. I'm probably going to be thinking about that game a ton for the rest of the year. What an ridiculous first 2 months this year. I can't believe I could make a top 10 now. I could make a top 10 right now probably.
Yeah, easily. The spoon is full, everyone. There's too many games on it. I do want to add, I was feeling a little bit discouraged seeing everyone's opinion on whatever the ending is supposed to be. But I feel like my tolerance for bullshit and Final Fantasy stuff may be closer aligned to yours, Mike.
Yeah.
And hearing Emma's take on the ending being like, oh, okay. And I feel like I am wedged in between you two when it comes to Final Fantasy.
Again, no spoilers. I know people think that they're going to infer something from what I'm saying. Trust me, you're not. But yes, look, it's like it's indulgent and it's a lot and honest and
It's Kingdom Hearts.
I mean,
You're fine.
What I really care about, like these great character moments and fantastic boss fights, and the last few boss fights are fantastic. They were great. So yeah, they didn't really bother me.
The last thing I'll say about Rebirth, at least for this week, is I am exhausting my console's memory with screenshots and clips.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, are 90% of them from the beach?
No,
No,
85.
immediately.
no. Y'all, respectfully and disrespectfully, I multiple times have felt like the Tex Avery cartoon wolf of
Awooga.
Awooga, my jaw just dropping on the floor and my eyes just bulging out. And then my partner looking over at me is like, "Are you playing one of those games again?" I'm like, "No. This one's for work." Oh
It's
boy.
it's like Tifa's game in a lot of ways. Tifa gets a ton of screen time in Rebirth, and it rules. Yeah, 2024 is kind of the year of Tifa, especially if she does show up in Tekken, like I think we're all expecting her to. Big year for Tifa, biggest year ever.
So the thing is, I came into FF7 remake dead set just because, like, I don't know, I kind of like Tifa more. That I was like, oh, Tifa all the way. I don't give a shit about Aerith. She was kind of in Kingdom Hearts, but she wasn't useful. But yo, the fucking writing in this game is getting me to care so deeply about her in such a way.
Can we say the thing about the dates? Is that like embargoed?
No, that's definitely one of the things we can't say, actually.
Cool. Well,
that was very specifically written out.
It is written out like that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, literally.
But just like
answered.
The relationships you explore, just like, oh, I thought I felt some way about all of these characters. I'm won over. I'm won over.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was actually more of an Aerith person. I was in remake, and then this one's like, oh, dang it. Nope. It's hard. It's hard.
We're all Red 13 people now, right?
We're all Red 13ers.
But man, also, I don't understand why people would hate Yuffie. She's got a giant shuriken on her back. That's sick as fuck.
She has a bit of that thing that I had with that coffee girl from Tekken. She could sometimes be a bit one note, just yelling about materia a lot. And she's the comic relief. She's self-proclaimed comic relief. I get why it grates some people. I'm like, yeah, she's a goober. It's fine. It's funny.
We all need goobers.
We need goobers. Some people are mad at me because I pointed out the Turks, Reno, and Rude. Because like what the PlayStation account posted a picture. I'm like, these two dudes are back. I'd love to see it. Everyone's like, yeah, these two are great. I'm like, these are the two that dropped the plate. They killed thousands of people, including women and children. And I never even said the words, you shouldn't like them. I had a lot of people get mad at me for suggesting that they can't like them. Right, but I don't know. That's the whole thing, the Vegeta syndrome of media where war criminals and genocide committers become fan favorites.
My top tier list of atrocity committers. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it's fun.
We shouldn't put that as the episode title.
No, I don't think so.
We'll think about it though during this break.
Mike Minotti says you can't love terrorists. There you go. That could be the title.
You can put that one on there. Mike Minotti says you can't love terrorists.
Yeah, print that on the back of the podcast. There you go.
People are like, Avalanche also kill people. I was like, yeah, that's a whole new sentence.
Did they remake the Alive movie?
The what movie?
No, they just did a new story. Isn't Alive based on a real thing or? There was a real plane crash, right, where people crashed and ate
like
human beings.
A football team on it, and they had to eat each other.
Yeah, I think there was like
something snow, right?
People of the snow, Snow Society.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, Jeff Backlar, how did we get here?
We got here because
these are like the cool atrocities that you're talking about.
Yeah, these are like the the sort of like acts of God, if you will. Right?
Okay.
Man, I'm never gonna have a political career if I keep saying things like cool atrocities. Let's make new slurs.
I think new slurs are interesting for like sci-fi movies, like when they're like. You hear like a weird word in there. I like fake, like fictional drug names too. I like that stuff too.
I like when the droids from the prequels are called clankers. I like that one a lot. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go think about my words.
Is that too harsh of a slur word for you, Mike? You don't like clanker?
No.
We need one for Disney adults. I'm just saying.
Disney adults.
I think Disney adults is the slur.
No, it's too much of a mouthful. It's got to be like 2 syllables tops.
It's fine. I shorten and make up words all the time. And I'll think of one during this break, and then we'll be back with some video game news.
Roy's Boys.
Okay, how is this? I figured out what to kill. I'm gonna kill this. Mike, can you count to 12?
They say you're coming in big hot.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy
Jesus
3, Final
Christ.
Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy
How's
8,
it now?
Final
How's
Fantasy-
it now, folks? It should be fine now. Yeah? Let me see some yums if it's okay now.
Final Fantasy Tactics
Still bad.
8-2.
Still bad. Still bad.
Why is it bad now? Okay. What about
There's an
now?
on-air light on this now. What's that about?
I don't know.
That was there before, wasn't it?
Was
Still
it?
hella hot. I'm loud.
I think it must be across the board we're loud because it's everybody.
Thought that would have solved that. Okay, just I sound like I'm in a tin can. Okay, well, let's do this then.
You guys sound great to me.
Yeah, everyone sounds good.
Says Mike and Jerf are good. Jan is totally blown out. Grub is kind of blown out, says Sean.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Turn around, every Jeff Grubb is kind of blown
Mike's
out.
quiet now? Mike is mega quiet now.
Okay, this should be better. It's lower, but it should be fine now.
Hello.
Hello,
Mike Benatti.
YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
I'm excited about news.
Fantasian. Wow, that sounds like a slur.
Okay. As soon as I heard it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna need to come
better.
to Grub's
I can't-
rescue.
I cannot hear that song and not think of what's one of the Todd Phillips movies where it's like the cover band. He's like, I fucking need you now.
Oh yeah, totally.
What is that? Which one is that?
Wasn't that from?
Is it old school?
Is it? It's old school.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
old
it is.
school. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Yeah, yeah.
I like that one a
Is she
lot.
like dancing around like a bunch of like schoolboys in that music video? It's real weird.
What?
And like the music
Oh,
video
like
for
the
that,
original.
she's like
the
flirting
original.
with a bunch of like underage boys or something. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think I've ever seen that video.
It's a very weird
Sounds
video.
weird.
You should. And like maybe it's about vampires actually.
Oh. Did I
Total-
stop purpling? Looks
Bonnie
like looks like
Tyler?
I stopped purpling.
That's what I was trying to fix.
No,
but-
they're
Okay,
like
thank you.
they're like possessed.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
possessed
I am
schoolboys.
still a little low, perhaps.
I will fix that on the fly.
I like
Minotti,
it.
here is a
Yeah.
screen grab from the video you are referencing.
All right. Hell yeah. Let's see it.
I will send it to you in Discord, and I
I'm
want to see
excited.
your
I'm ready
live
to receive.
reaction.
See this.
Christian sent me a message last night telling me to play Helldivers, but use the DDR pad to enter stratagems, and I really want to do that.
It actually just sounds efficient.
It sounds like a good, like I'm not using my feet normally, so let's do
Yeah.
it.
So,
I mean, it's-
get John Warren's glider on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I saw someone like set up hotkeys just for or on a stream deck just for Helldivers. I'm like, damn,
That's pretty cool too.
That's dedication.
Use that foot thing. When's that foot thing coming out? When are we getting our foot things?
I've always had a
thing?
foot thing.
Hey.
Glider. Glider? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing we were just talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Is that Greek yogurt?
Yeah, man. I got some Chobani here, bro.
Oh, hell yeah.
I am
All right,
not
I'm gonna
a
get
Body
the body.
boys.
This news music is gonna sound terrible. We'll fix it.
I should just start talking about the news, huh?
That's no like that toss is normal.
That's what that was, huh? All right. Well, you know what? Fine.
Yeah.
I will do exactly that. Got a lot of news here for you, everybody. Pretty busy week, but today popped off with what is going to be seemingly the theme of this year: more job losses in the video game industry. PlayStation has cut 900 jobs, affecting the studios that make games like Spider-Man and The Last of Us and Horizon. Sony's PlayStation division is undergoing significant layoffs with the closure of its London studio and cuts at other studios like Firesprite, as well as the aforementioned Insomniac Games, Naughty Dog, and Gorilla. The layoffs, amounting to 900 people, or about 8% of PlayStation, were confirmed by outgoing Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan, who described the decision as extremely hard. Affected staff across major SIE regions, including the Americas, EMEA, Japan, and APAC, will receive severance benefits. These layoffs come amid discussions about the evolving economic landscape and changes to how SIE develops, distributes, and launches games. Other recent high-profile layoffs in the gaming industry include those at Supermassive just yesterday. The makers of Until Dawn had layoffs themselves. Recently, a couple weeks ago, Microsoft also laid off about 8% of the employees working on Xbox across Xbox, Activision, some of their other subsidiaries. Twitch has also had layoffs. Riot. We are approaching, I think, about 8,000, 9,000 layoffs in the industry so far in 2024. This is that 8% number keeps popping up. Everyone's just cutting their workforces by about 5 to 8%. And here we are once again, someone else cutting that many people. Unaffected studios include Sucker Punch. You get the sense that, like, hey, if you have a game coming out soon, well, we need all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And if you have a game coming out 6 years from now, well, you just launched a game. What have you done for us lately? And so we're going to cut some jobs. It's rough out there.
No, I mean, look, these games are all terrible games. They don't do well.
Right. They don't make that's the thing, right? They don't make any money. They
don't
sell
make
one
any
copy.
money.
They don't sell like 20 million copies for the last.
They don't make any fucking money. They are all released at a gigantic loss, and it puts all these companies deep into the red, and that's what explains massive layoffs. Of course, I'm fucking kidding.
Right, because PlayStation has had huge profits for the last several quarters. The last one was a little bit down, but they were still a very profitable company.
So I don't want to fucking hear any more financial reporting. I don't want to know how good you're fucking doing, because it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter, because you're just going to lay off everyone else because you didn't do as good as you are already doing, right?
Yep.
So what are we even doing for? What are we even doing this for?
And they're just setting themselves up for bad times. You look at PlayStation right now, what is the most obvious problem? It's the fact that PlayStation Studios releases have kind of slowed to a crawl. Well, how is that going to look like going forward when you're cutting jobs from like 3 developers in Gorilla and Naughty Dog and Insomniac that have done nothing but good things for you? Like, they are the backbone of that entire exclusive structure, and you're going to cut them off? I mean, they said something when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out about how they're able to do this so relatively quickly because it's a giant game. And he said, well, hey, we have people who've been working with each other for a while. It's not just that you're going to have less people working there, which is already a fucking huge problem, but people are more efficient when they are working with people that they have worked with for a while. The problem right now is that these games that Sony likes to make are very expensive and they take too long to make. This isn't going to help that at all. That problem was already getting worse. Now it's going to get exponentially worse. There's absolutely no regard for the future when making this move. It's just about maximizing profits for the next financial report so we can keep investors happy for just a little bit longer, and then we'll figure out what we got to do for the next quarter. We can't keep thinking quarter by quarter like this, or financial year by financial year like this. It's going to go nowhere.
This will continue to happen forever because it is allowed to happen. That's it. That's it. There's no labor protection. It's
real quick on that point. The people that worked in these studios in America, done today. People in the UK are going to go through a consultation period. People in Japan, I think, that work in Japan for Sony are going to be working with them for quite some time before like this happens. So they have a chance to find new work, and like Sony has to pay for that process. You can tell the regulation how it affects what it is like for everybody. In America, fucking cut loose spot. Everyone gets their severance, yes, but that's like. But that was them like just being competitive. Everyone has to give a severance to like attract these people in the first place. But when it comes to actually how they're treated out the door, it is just good luck and have fun in America. It sucks.
I think that the most baffling and frustrating part, one of the components at least, is all of these people that have made these projections and are in turn bragging about all these profits, they're facing no backlash. As far as I know, in any of these layoffs,
Jim Ryan's retiring. He's getting his golden parachute. He's out.
God, I hope a bird crashes into his golden parachute.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes, so much for him leaving on top, by the way, because he's leaving with this now. So this is, his legacy is that he did not set PlayStation up to succeed on his way out. They somehow seem to be in a bad position despite winning the made-up console war, which is more made up than ever. God, if you spent any amount of your time yelling at somebody because of the box they play
more
games
absurd
on,
than you've ever looked in your entire life.
Look who you're rooting for. Look who you are in the bag for. These motherfuckers who do not care.
PlayStation won, and this is the victory lap. Right, congratulations.
PlayStation 1, Xbox lost. Both laid off 8% of their workforce.
Yay.
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
What are we doing? What were we doing with that time and energy?
Yep,
you made the world a worse place for no reason. Great. I'm glad you yelled at somebody on the internet.
It is reminiscent of how the industry felt going into the PS4 and Xbox One generation, where they were very unsure about the future. Then they were unsure about how consoles were going to sell. They're like, we're probably not going to, it's probably going to be like trending downward. Like Sony was trending downward at that time because of the PS3. So they're like, okay, well, we're not sure. And Xbox was, we're going to do this TV stuff because we see people buy Xbox and then actually they use the Xboxes to watch TV and Netflix. So we're going to focus on that instead. They then started up that generation, and both those consoles did very well. The Xbox One actually sold pretty well. The PlayStation 4 obviously was a huge seller. Then they were like, okay, well, we're going to slowly build up the software and get that going. And Microsoft kind of struggled and stumbled and never really actually accomplished that. And Sony did. They got a bunch of studios going, but now they're like, we don't think we're going to be able to justify making these games for the industry that we sort of built up to look this way. The industry needs to look like, hey, you put out a console, then you put out exclusives for it, and now they're like, well, we don't think that's going to work. Who fucking did that? And it's like, what are you talking about? This is the industry you built. Everything seems to be set up to favor these console companies, and yet they still can't find a way to consistently make it work for more than a 5-year period. It's like, okay, everything's going to be good for 5 years, and then after that, we're blowing the whole thing up, and we don't know what's going to happen next.
And they just got a surprise smash hit with Helldivers 2 that the books couldn't possibly have accounted for. Big
Good point.
hit. Got to be making a lot of money. It doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't matter.
So, we talk about, hey, the backbone companies, studios losing workers. Of course, at the same time, London Studios, yet another team that was doing weird, interesting stuff. They did a lot of the really sort of gamey VR games recently, where it's like, hey, London Heist or whatever it's called, where it's like you're actually going to go in there and it's going to tell you a story, but it's going to have a lot of cool gameplay moments. And they were one of the studios putting out games for that thing that made the PlayStation VR feel like it was a real platform. It almost seems like they're punished for being the VR studio. The VR games probably didn't sell very well because they're fucking VR games, like a fraction of an audience. So now this studio is getting shut down. They were doing interesting things. So we're not even getting, obviously Japan studios shut down a while ago now. And they were some studios that would do some interesting things. It's okay, it feels like a huge mistake. And yet everything, all the choices they're making seem to reinforce exactly what happened there, where it's like, we can only support the studios that are making the biggest, most expensive games, the ones that will take 6 years to complete, and probably in the future are going to start taking 7-8 years to $350 million. And it's like, oh, why are you going further down the road when that's clearly not the answer and actually part of your problem? I don't get it.
And it's not their fault that PSVR 2 was just not well received.
Of course not.
Everyone at PSVR was always looking forward to the London Studios games. I always hear them talk about that. And so it's they did their part. They held up their end of the bargain. Make something interesting for this platform that barely anyone was buying games for. What can you do? It does feel like Sony, Microsoft probably won't do too many layoffs after this, but that doesn't guarantee that they won't have any more. But it seems like they were like, hey, let's pull the Band-Aid off now. But the industry does feel like it's going to continue going through this. I think especially now that we see it's happening at Sony, it's like, okay, it could be anybody. Obviously, Sony's last financial report did detail how they are concerned about this upcoming year. Last year, they sold, or the fiscal year that's going to come to end at the end of March, they expect to have sold about 21 million PS5s through that 12-month period. They originally anticipated to do 25 million. That was always a sky-high number. It seemed kind of out of reach, but they did about everything they could to sell 25 million PS5s, including cutting the price aggressively in several deals for the PS5. So they've kind of like, they've done what they can with like good deals to get people interested in the PS5 to come buy it. And now they're going to go into this next year where they said that, hey, we're worried about profits now. So that means we can't cut the price of the PS5 as frequently. So that means they're probably going to sell fewer PS5s. And that's why they keep talking about, hey, we're on the second half of the PlayStation 5's life cycle. They expect things could start trending down this next year. And so, ooh, that does seem like a problem if you are a company that your costs keep growing. And that brings us right back to, what does PlayStation do? We've been talking about this on this show and on Game S Morning for weeks now, because at the Xbox news would come up and people were like, all right, that, you know, the Xbox seems like they're in trouble. And we'd always remind, hey, no, PlayStation is not out of the woods. And here they are basically having the exact same problems as Microsoft. How do you guys feel about the future of consoles? Matt Piscatella this whole week, he's the Circana analyst that always does the stuff. When I talk about the MPD numbers, the Circana numbers, he's the guy that writes all that stuff. And he's been kind of having arguments with some fanboys this past week, being like, guys, it's just the 2008 dynamics of selling consoles are gone, and they're gone for good. And no one's really thinking that way that works at these companies in any leadership role. They're not thinking about, oh, the future is, okay, we sold 140 million PS4s or whatever. Now we're going to sell 200 million PS5s. It's like, no, we're going to sell about as many PS4s or maybe even fewer. And if your audience is shrinking, how are you going to make more money, as you are mandated to do to keep your investors happy? What's the future here?
I don't think they have any inkling of what the future is, because like in retrospect now, looking at any story to come out of PlayStation, Sony, whatever, it just feels like absolute bullshit to just try and turn a quick buck. Like, I thought it was cool that the PSVR 2, they were trying to get it to work with PCs. Yeah. And thinking like, oh, whatever possibilities that could open up. But now just like, oh, it's because you're getting rid of that studio, one of the more innovative studios that were supporting that. PC
and you're not
tech.
going to make any other games for it. Yeah.
And now like I'm thinking about like the PlayStation Portal and like how half-baked that fucking shit is. And it just happens to keep selling out for whatever reason. I don't know.
They didn't make very many of them. That's what it is.
I guess that scarcity is leading to profits there. It just seems like no one knows what they're fucking doing. And I just don't know when the shoe is going to drop.
Well, I mean, like on a long enough timeline, like you just can't keep firing everyone and expect people to spend money on your thing. Like if no one is employed and you put the disparity between the highest wealth owners and the people who have nothing, you are eliminating the people, right? Like, we're just not on a very sustainable trajectory.
Yeah. This is the unsustainably of AAA games. Yeah.
I don't want to consume.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, I was going to say it. You're part of the problem there, Jan. No, I'm kidding.
I think
Jan's realization that the call is coming from inside the Jan house.
I'm capitalism. Wait a minute.
They know that they need to do more PC ports like day and date that help to fill diversity.
That seems to be the suggestion they're making in their last financial report. Yes.
A year or two later, people just kind of don't care as much. I think both Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft has kind of tried this. They got to find a way to make smaller games and still have their audiences care about them. They got to have a way to get $50 million games or less, or even more. But you can't only have games that cost $200 million or more and take 7 to 8 years or more be the only games that excite people, because there are just going to be so few of those. I know that things are going to take longer and take more money to make, but I just can't believe we went from like a Naughty Dog making 4 big, huge games on the PlayStation 3 to now we're going to get one real game a generation from them. That's just not going to be enough for how much that you depend on something like a Naughty Dog. Something has to change. It's something fundamentally on how we're approaching the whole process here.
I mean, and the reality is, it's like it's going to change with them or without them, right? Because at a certain point, people will grow to learn that it's like, okay, yeah, I really like it when Naughty Dog puts out a game. Those are my kinds of games. But if I start looking forward to only those games, that is, not to be grim, 5 more maybe in the rest of my life. Like, that's weird to think about that. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking to other places for my games. And if I can't, if that's like readily available to me and like interesting stuff's happening on other platforms, people are going to start looking away. And I think that obviously third parties and indie studios make games on consoles, but these companies finding ways to facilitate that and make that a bigger thing. Obviously, Helldivers 2 is working on PlayStation, but it's working even more on PC. And maybe that's just because it's a game that appeals to PC players. I don't know, but it's like these are the kinds of lessons that need to be learned. How do you enable and empower other studios to do things that fill in these gaps frequently and often, and make that the norm? Make it feel like, hey, we show up to this console to play all kinds of stuff and not just the biggest games. And I don't know what the answer is, because at a certain point, video gaming was built on this foundation of the thing we're all most excited for is the thing that looks the best, does look the most expensive. And it's like, we just got to maybe get over this hump of like, okay, well, they look about as good as they're going to look. The barrier for a long time was the GPU. It was how powerful the system was. And now it's how much time and money you have. So just by the nature of that, like by physics, well, if you spend more time and more money, it's going to look better than than the Joneses down the street. And so you got to spend more time and more money. It's like, oh, okay, well, we need to actually think about that and criticize that and understand it and maybe get ourselves off that path, because that leads to the path of unsustainability, something we've been talking about for years. And now here we are. This is the end result we've been talking about.
Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out next year, and it's going to be this game made with more money and more time than anybody else can afford. It's not like, oh, wow, we're here now with video games. This is what we can expect going forward. No, it's going to be an anomaly now. And we're going to have to maybe accept, like, yeah, maybe there's 2 or 3 game series that can afford to do that anymore. And maybe 2 of them are like The Last of Us and whatever they're working on at Rockstar. But yeah, we can't be doing this forever anymore.
I want these big companies to know I don't give a shit about puddles.
Right?
I don't fucking care. Just I feel like the games that I've wound up glomming onto and just thinking like, wow, this is a real good use of technology is like more stylistic shit. I don't need shit to look real. I don't want to see Peter Parker's creepy smiling face. Just put that fucking mask back on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me choose one of the suits that looks like a cartoon character, which I play as the entire time I'm playing that game, because I don't care. You're right.
Or hey, maybe make a really expensive Spider-Man game and have it be a giant success, huge hit, and then have a bunch of your people laid off anyways. I don't even know.
That could never happen. That's not how it works. This is a meritocracy we live in. If you make something good, you get rewarded.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And then, Jim Ryan is leaving. It did seem like he knew all this was coming. He's known since he announced his retirement that they were looking at their financials. They were looking at the outlook of how long it's going to take to make these games. He was looking at like the release schedule and knew they were going to have to say stuff like, we are not going to have any franchise AAA games released in the entire fiscal year that ends in March 2025. And those are a bunch of problems that no one knows how to solve, let alone Jim Ryan. And so he got out. But you're right. This is like, I mean, at the very least, he did write the blog post about this. So he did like take some ownership of it. So he's going to be associated with that. But who the fuck does that help?
Yeah.
No one. I hope everyone affected here lands on their feet. The industry seems real rough. If people are done with games and want to like leave and go work in like, finance, I don't blame them. I totally understand. And I hope that they, I hope the industry misses them, because we probably will. We're probably going to get it like down the line, like, why aren't these games as good as they used to be? And say, well, some people with like really special knowledge left the industry because of a bunch of layoffs in 2024 and 2023. So we don't deserve them if we can't keep them employed after making awesome game after awesome game. It sucks. All right, moving on. There was a Pokemon Direct earlier this morning. You guys got up. Mike, you were there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Jen, you were also there.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there. They made some announcements. I wrote down a couple of things, guys. I only understood half of what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, you were in the woods, is why.
I was literally skipping through the woods while this was happening. Pokemon Go added new Paldean Pokemon with Horizons event. They keep adding Pokemon from the other games. This is just them coming from this is Sprigatito and Fuecoco. Which gen is that from? I can never remember.
Is that the newest one? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the newest one.
Okay.
Scarlet and Violet.
Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be happening pretty soon. I think they said it's March 5th to March 11th is the event. That coincides with the series premiere of the new anime launching on Netflix in North America on March 8th. Then the Pokemon trading card game Pocket was announced for mobile devices. There's already a way to play this game on mobile and on PC with TCG Live, I think it's called. This is not that, but it's still basically that. I don't understand. What is this?
I can't. Yeah, so that other game is just made by the Pokemon,
Card
company.
game.
Yeah, and this one like has
DNA?
other people involved. DNA. So
And
people actually
creatures.
know how to make mobile games and creatures. So it looks a lot spiffier for mobile. It's got this like even just opening the packs looks nice. Apparently, you get 2 free packs a day, and you do play the game, but it's like a truncated version of the game, so it's meant to go faster. So at first it was really confusing. I look at it more. I kind of get it. I'm even kind of intrigued a little bit, especially if you do get 2 free packs a day. Although
Sean explained it as this is like dual links to TCG's Live Master Duel, and I don't understand that either.
I can go ahead and translate
Great.
that.
Please.
Then. Duel Links is a streamlined version of Yu-Gi-Oh! So instead of 5 lanes, there's only 3. And from the trailer, it looked like that is the same case for this Pokemon card game for mobile. I think part of the hesitation there is that folks that went all the way in on that existing game have an existing inventory.
Folks,
feel burnt.
just
Myself.
just the generic folks, Jan.
Folks.
me.
Who could
Uh-huh.
it be?
Me,
Mr.
it's me.
Consumer himself.
It's me. Did I go on eBay and perhaps buy a bunch of Pokemon card codes to flesh out my digital library?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Most
did.
certainly.
Okay, we don't need to slut shame me right now, all right? I was gone from the pod last week. Just let me have this, okay? So I think there's a little bit of hesitation there of like, all right, does that card library carry over? And then because of the nature of anything mobile, God, I can just feel them charging so much
Sure.
for like, all right, you want to open another pack today?
Mhm.
And then just seeing how whatever ladder that's gonna look like. God. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw that video. That's bad. That's bad news, man.
Backler, they're coming for you now.
They're trying to. Luckily, I've thrown my phone out the window.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing that works and can keep you safe. So you're probably going to be fine now.
Yeah.
And then there's Pokemon Legends Zadasha.
Za.
Za.
Get some
Let's go get some
Za.
hot
Get some
Za.
Za.
That did get me laughing, Mike, when I was on my walk when you started saying, oh, we're going to get some
Pretty
Pokemon
funny.
Za. That's announced for Switch. It's releasing in 2025.
No, kind of
Yeah.
announced for Switch. There was a Switch
Well-
logo. Man, there's a bunch of things about this I find interesting. I thought Legends was possible. I thought just a remake was more likely. But man, I was
What is
ready.
this? Like when you say like you were expecting the Legends, is this just going to be Legends Arceus, like the game I played and really liked?
I think so. It seems like there might be some kind of city building or management system in it. So this one is set in that region that looks like Paris from the X and Y game.
Lumio City.
Yeah, which is so it's just Paris, and there's like a blueprint and all this stuff, right? But they're using the Legends tag, and unless the Legends tag is just some tag they're going to do for anything experimental, I assume there is still that loop that I really liked in Legends Arceus, where it's open world but kind of streamlined in this pleasant way. I hope that's still a part of it. If it's just like we're making a city builder, gosh,
Right,
Sean says that there was a quote that it takes place all in Lumia City. I mean, it is a big city, but yeah, what the hell does that mean? Because that just sounds inherently like a very
dirty
different game.
urban Pokemon. Hell yeah, let's get some of those.
And in comparison, like Legends Arceus was what? Feudal-ish Japan?
It was like,
Yeah.
it was an isekai, right? And big,
Yeah.
but like
Was
open,
it?
undeveloped areas. So very different than what this almost can be, but also dense city. God, I saw the towns in Scarlet and Violet. I was not impressed. And that's the other component here is I thought whatever they were going to show here was almost certainly going to be something for the Switch this holiday, because we have no idea what the Switch is getting this holiday. 'cause
Well, not a
maybe that
Pokemon
was
game apparently.
Because we thought that,
Yeah.
originally that was when a Switch 2 was probably supposed to launch. So you need something for the Switch. I figured a Pokemon game, maybe. No, because this is coming 2025. So is that because it always was? Is that because this was always meant to be a Switch 2 game? So it's getting pushed back with the console? I don't know. But either way, boy, what is the Switch going to get this holiday?
Well, is this supposed to be a different team than the team that worked on Scarlet and Violet? Like, this is the same Legends Arceus team, I'm
I
assuming?
would assume this is just what the Arceus team went to work on right after that.
Right? So I would hope they
assume.
had a little bit of time in between releases to make something good,
I mean,
hopefully.
Arceus wasn't that long ago, though, Jan. That was early 2022.
Yeah,
That
that
was
fucking...
not very long ago.
What?
like-
It was 2022?
It was early 2022.
Oh, God,
That's
my,
It is
crazy.
not very old.
my guts hurt. Okay. I had an epiphany.
Yeah, I was going to ask,
while
what
we
was
were
your
talking.
realization?
All right. At the end of the Pokemon Direct earlier, I asked the panel of Nikki, Sean, and Mike who they thought the starters would be in Legends Za. Legendza?
Legends. Yeah,
Legendza.
it's the more powerful Legends, yeah.
Because we had different starters for Legends Arceus. If this is going to take place in Lumio City, which is Mike, Generation 6 or
Yes, that's right. So see, red and blue, gold and silver, ruby, sapphire, diamond, pearl, black and white, X and Y, 6.
okay, 6. And probably the most popular starter out of Gen 6 is Froakie to Greninja. You
Yeah.
are going to have a Parisian Greninja that uses his tongue as like a fancy Paris scarf. And he's going to have a little beret.
An ascot?
An ascot. Yes, yes. Oh my God, I'm calling it now. And if it doesn't happen, well, Pokemon fucked up. They should have cut the check to the pro consumer.
Well, speaking of fucking up, like Sean's suggesting that maybe this Legends moniker that we assumed would mean a game that is like Arceus every time, like I guess a little bit more like Monster Hunter, he said, might not mean that at all. And maybe it's just any time they put a game into the far past, and it could be any kind of game. And if they're doing that, they have messed up. That is like
Yeah,
the wrong
that's not what I
thing to do.
want.
That is not what anyone wants. You can put games in the past. Who cares? But the whole thing, we weren't excited about Legends Arceus because it took place in the past. Are you crazy? What are you talking about?
Right. There's a few weirdness there. I'm still weirded out that we just skipped the black and white generation, which is a lot of people's favorite. It's a beloved one to kind of
Maybe they know that they would mess that up and it would be bad.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hopefully black and white remakes are still coming. I guess even later, but I don't know. Maybe this is a me thing. I did not like X and Y. Nothing wrong with the setting, I guess. So if you're just using that setting in some new game, fine, whatever. Also, what is with this name? I know we're making fun of it because at first it just said Pokemon Legends Z, and that was cool because we never got like the Z version component to X and Y, and then they had to go and fuck it up with this -A bullshit.
And then the other aspect,
How do you say it? Is it Pokemon Legends
I think you're supposed to
ZA?
say Pokemon Z-A. I don't know.
Well, weird.
the other component here that I know that Mikey's not a big fan of is seemingly Mega Evolutions have returned.
Oh God.
And the thing is,
Get it
Legends
together,
Arceus-
Minotti.
Legends
Sounds like
Arceus
Jabba the Hutt dying.
Yeah, right? Like, are you melting? What's happening?
had fudged with the meta in such an interesting way. And I feel like I just wrapped my head around terrestrializations. Then now I got to remember all this fucking Mega Evolution shit now.
Pokemon's, I mean, this is not going to be a revelation to anybody, but Pokemon's definitely in that state where Zelda was, where it's like, here's Zelda again, but we got a new gimmick. And it's like, Pokemon's been doing that over and over again. Yes, it's been that for a long time.
In that loop.
Yes.
I would rather have a 2D game where Pikachu's just going, excuse me. Because that'd be exponentially more interesting than a lot of
I guess it is a little bit, maybe it's a relief that they're like, listen, we're not going to try another new one. We'll just go back to the gimmick that people seem to like the most, which is Megas, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely the most popular gimmick. And I am in the minority for not liking that one, and that's fine. I don't like all those gimmicks where it's just like some button you push once per battle and watch an overly long but still not all that exciting cutscene for some temporary power boost. Like I get it that we had to find a way to make abilities that just increase your stats exciting, so we just kind of had to give it this visual flair. But it's just a lot of busyness to me. And again, I think because when they first announced it, I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll be able to evolve my Charizard to a
Into
fourth tier,
into
and
an
it's not
actual
it.
dragon finally.
Right. And it's not that. It's like it's like going Super Saiyan instead.
If
It only
anything,
lasts for a little bit.
that I am interested and excited for is kind of handpicking specifically which Pokemon are in this title, that we don't need all of them because a lot of them are garbage. Some of them are literal garbage.
Right. That's what's nice about Legends. I think like Legends kind of had a small-ish Pokedex, really.
Yeah.
And that's a lot about Legends that worked for me is that it kind of reined a lot of things in. It streamlined things in a pleasant way. Like I liked actually just capturing Pokemon by literally just sneaking up on them and throwing a ball at them, more like the anime. I was like, yeah, I don't actually need to get into a battle with everybody and like make sure I have the false swipe TM on some trash Pokemon and do that whole rigmarole. No, that's fine. Look, the Let's Go games kind of had me on board with that. Like, actually, yeah, this is just how I want to catch Pokemon.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
I still maintain that the Let's Go games were probably some of the stronger, more recent Pokemon games.
I am a little surprised because the Let's Go were like the first Switch Pokemon games. I'm a little surprised we're going back to Legends before giving Let's Go.
I agree. I thought
chance.
if I had to put money on it beforehand, I'm like, well, if we're gonna get anything that's not something to do with Black and White remake, we would probably get a Let's Go.
Especially since you would obviously just do it with the Gold Silver generation, which again. One of the most beloved generations. So you just do Let's Go Togepi or whatever. It seems like that would do well.
Yeah, if they didn't want to split the versions again because there's no clear mascot other than Togepi and I don't know, Meryl, maybe you could just do Let's Go Johto.
Yeah,
and like
people point out that like that was the Let's Go games were a byproduct of Go's popularity, and I'm sure that was the case. But I think that there's still like. Maybe you don't have to call them Let's Go. Maybe do something else with them. But having the simplified version of I like Let's Go, I would be fine with it. And I, as much as I know they were associated with the Pokemon Go, in my mind they stand alone. Just like
I don't really even associate them personally myself. But
all right. I guess the last thing to talk about before we move on from this is this was announced for 2025, not 2024. I don't think they put a finer date on it than 2025, but they did have a logo for the Nintendo Switch on it. This probably is also like a big deal Switch 2 launch game, right?
So there was another tweet, I believe it's by the stateside Pokemon company that didn't explicitly say Nintendo Switch in their copy. They said platforms, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're being coy about this for a reason. Seems like this game is lining up for Switch systems broadly, and it will be something that is mostly associated with Switch 2 probably when it comes out.
And if this is on Switch 2, there's got to be some kind of bump in fidelity. I know I just went on this huge rant on Sony chasing that fidelity.
Yeah, that's not the Pokemon company, though. The Pokemon company is their own case.
Pokemon think is a little bit of that dragon, I think, just a smidge. Like, this can't come out and look a bit better than Scarlet and Violet, right? There's got to be a pretty decent leap here.
All right. Bravely Default producer teases an announcement for later this year. The producer of the Bravely series, Tomoya Asano, has hinted at a new announcement later this year in celebration of the 3rd anniversary of Bravely Default 2. Basically, he was celebrating Bravely Default 2 is 3 years old, and he basically said, hey, in 2024, we will have more news coming up soon. Mike, I know you like the Bravely Default games to a point. Are you excited about the 3? Do you think that's what's happening here?
If I had to guess, I think maybe they're going to bring Bravely Default 1 and maybe Bravely 2nd to the Switch, honestly, which would be nice. Yeah, Bravely Default's weird for me because I love Bravely Default. I even really liked Bravely 2nd, and then for some reason, Bravely Default 2 did like nothing for me, and I have no idea why. I don't know why it felt that different to me. But yeah, it might be a new game, but it's almost kind of surprising that we haven't had those games ported over to Switch yet, right? Those original ones. A lot of the popular 3DS games, especially ones that don't really depend on touchscreen gimmicks or 3D gimmicks, Default doesn't on either end. It would be surprising if we didn't get ports of those eventually.
Let's see. PlayStation Portal surpassed Sony's expectations. This is from Steven Totello, not Tony Stetello. Steven
Hey, Tony
Totello at
Totello.
GameFile.
Hey, who's this guy?
Cool.
Gaming's most Italian reporter. Sony's unusual. Well, I'm sorry, Mike. Didn't mean to put you down like that. Sony's unusual and perpetually sold out new handheld gaming device, the PlayStation Portal, is hotter than the company thought it would be. Although we don't have any numbers to share, the demand has continued to exceed our expectations. PlayStation's VP of Product Management, Hiromi Wakai, recently told Steven Totello. The Portal has been sold out for the last couple of months, pretty much nonstop. People would like, Wario 64 will be like, hey, it's available now. And then it sells out in seconds. So PlayStation's like, yeah, way more people want it than we thought would. So it's exceeding our expectations. That doesn't mean it's some like huge, massive success. Circana, the Matt Piscatello thing we were talking about earlier, he put out the results from January, and they moved the PlayStation Portal from hardware over to accessories because it basically is a PlayStation 5 accessory. And it was the 5th best-selling accessory of the month, he said. Whereas like the PlayStation DualSense Edge, that $200 controller, was the number 1 in terms of dollar sales. This was 5th in terms of dollar sales. So a $200 controller for the PS5 still selling better than this $200 controller with a screen on it. And then there's like 4 other things selling better than this. So that seems to come down to supply. Like PlayStation probably just didn't make a ton of these things. But at the very least, it seems like they could sell more if they were to make more. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just like not going to get a Portal at this point because I am having such a good time using the Steam Deck. Do any of you guys have interest in a Portal?
Nah.
They have a Portal. They sent me one. I haven't really used it a whole ton just because I have so many other things to play in that space, right? Like Switch or even on my Roger Ally now. I bet Sony and I think Microsoft the same thing. They both are just racing to figure out a way to make actual portable versions of their modern consoles.
Yeah, that probably can't happen. Well, probably doesn't happen until the next generation for both companies, right? So they can like make it fit into their hardware lineup, their hardware stack. But I think you're right. I think they're both trying to get to that point as quickly as possible. Pentiment, this is a weird one. Pentiment somehow ran better on the PS5. Not that this is a game that matters how many frames per second you get.
Sure.
But it ran at 120 frames per second on PS5. And some people pointed out, hey, that original thing when you like acquired Bethesda, you said the games would be first or better or best on Xbox. And here it's only 60 frames per second, and it's 120 frames per second on PS5. Again, no one really cared because they're like, it's Pentiment. But it's like, why did this happen? Really quickly, Josh Sawyer came out. Josh Sawyer is the director on that game. He's like, this was a bug as part of putting this on PS5. We discovered it, and this is going to run at 120 frames per second on the Xbox. But I guess it's like people are like, well, why didn't you notice before the PlayStation? Why did you need the PlayStation version to figure this out? But I don't know. There was a little bit of a hubbubaloo about this.
Yeah, it's not much. And look, I know I get real upset if something's in 30 FPS and not 60 FPS. But kind of past 60 FPS, I can't really tell that much.
Yeah, your eyes don't work. I mean, I get it.
No, Mike's right. Like that. Well, like I think 90 frames per second, I'm still like noticing it. I'm realizing like when I'm using those. But you're right. Anything above that, it is huge diminishing returns.
I just think it's funny that they're like, yeah, this is a bug. We never fixed it. Our bad.
All right, we're just gonna flip the switch now. It works on Xbox.
You happy?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
I love the internet because I can both be yelled at for caring about games being 60 instead of 30 FPS, and for saying that I can't tell the difference between 60 and 120.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose situation that
we're
you
just
find yourself
looking
in.
for reasons to be mad at you, and so no matter what you say, we're gonna find out what it is. Don't worry.
Good. I like it.
Last story here. Apple Arcade has the stench of death about it, according to many developers asked about it.
That's just Sonic the Hedgehog. They put him on there.
That's what happens when you put Sonic on there.
No.
Multiple sources from mobilegamer.biz express concerns about the future of Apple Arcade, citing a decline in developer payouts and a shift towards family-friendly IP. Apple Arcade is facing criticism due to several developers saying the payouts have grown smaller and smaller over the last several years, to the point where it's like no one's really even counting on that anymore. And it doesn't seem like Apple Arcade and Apple are going to developers the way they used to and greenlighting projects. That's kind of over. Apple already rebooted Apple Arcade once, it sounds like there's a possibility that they might try to do that again. But at the same time, it's like Apple just never takes gaming seriously. And so why are they surprised that this is the result? Whenever they take something seriously, everyone's like, oh, well, then we better take it seriously. And then whenever it comes to gaming, everyone's like, we know you don't really mean this. Like, you've never cared about games. So I think most people are just... And for me, like, Apple Arcade is definitely something I've eyed a couple of times. There's that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that's basically Hades.
It's good.
Yeah, and I've heard great things about it. I'm like, well, I can't wait to play that. But at the same time, I'm like, I know it's going to come to Switch. It's going to come to PC in like a year. I'll just wait for that. So that's what I've been doing. And I think that at a certain point, they're like, this is an uphill battle, and we're going to look for other ways to get some success here. Go ahead.
A lot of the people who don't like playing games on phones, like a me, just aren't going to do this anyways. And a lot of people do like playing games on phones, just probably already have like their games on the phone anyways, or they don't think they need to pay for a subscription, right? And if people have an Apple Arcade subscription, and then like a lot of people, it's like, I got to get rid of at least a few of these subscriptions. I think Apple Arcade is one of the first ones to go for a lot of people.
Yeah, agreed. And like the other aspect is like, if you're looking to play like, I don't know, a AAA style game, you have found ways to do remote play on your phone already, and you're not going to your phone specifically for any of those titles.
Yeah, like I really am interested in that Hello Kitty Animal Crossing. Like,
it's good.
Yes,
Island Adventure.
Yes, and yes, exactly. And I keep like getting emails about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I should go check that out. And then I like stop myself. I'm like, even if I were to like get a device to play that, if it was like on my TV, that'd be a little bit of a hassle. So maybe I'll get an iPad or an iPhone to play it on. I'm like, I just don't like the idea of sitting on one of those devices, just eating up battery playing those games, when I could just wait for it to come to a dedicated gaming device where I don't ever have those feelings. So I expect it to come to Switch eventually, and I'll play it then. And that's kind of where I'm going to keep sitting with that. Apple Arcade is the kind of thing where it's like, it's almost surprising that they don't just stumble into success with that, because I think they give away a trial with every Apple device that people buy. And it's like, and so at a certain point, most people just like kind of let those trials go into them then paying a monthly fee. But it's like, I think a lot of people aren't even activating the trials. So it's weird.
I think a lot of the stumblings or parts of Apple Arcade that are unappealing is a lot of those games are not specifically made for the iPhone. It's just like an experience that you can get or will eventually get, like you said, Grub, on the Switch, on PC. What was what the golf I feel like was very good, and that was like the go-to recommendation for Apple Arcade initially when that came out. It was fucking fantastic.
It was that in that puzzle game that later showed up on other places.
Yeah,
break a lot of blocks. I can't remember the name, but hey, it also has Fantasy Asian, Jeff.
Yeah, Fantasy Asians. Yeah.
Rhinestone, thank you.
Do you see they're doing that developer's doing another it's called What the Car now?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just like, oh yeah, I should check that out too.
Like
What the
golf.
golf.
Is that gonna play it while he drives?
Yeah, that's the best place to play mobile games, of course. I'm a bad person.
We all are.
I'm gonna wrap up the news by handing the show back over to Jan. And think about. Oh wait, no, real quick. Xbox era. They did an Xbox book that I contributed to. They're doing a second run. They're the Kickstarter for it. I'll tweet this in a little bit. But they spent so much money on shipping the first one that the book is like not even like made a ton of money for them. So this second run is like really their opportunity to make some of that money back. And it's a good book. It's like really pretty, and I'm in it, so you should buy it. So I'll put a link out there for it.
There you go. There you go. Buy books. Everyone, go buy a book. Go buy that book.
I just had a 32X book come in the mail.
Oh, I would like to check that out.
Yeah, I want to see that.
That's something I think about a lot too, and I never really had one.
And we will go read some emails after this break. Before we get to emails, I need to see this book. I'm pro books.
Yeah, there we go. Look at this. The complete
Oh, look at that.
Sega 32X guide by Sean Long, aka RGT 85. It's nice. It's got like a little bit on, I think, just about every 32X game, or at least a lot of them. I just got this in. Haven't looked at it
I'm
yet.
gonna get that. That looks great.
Very excited though. 32X is a fun little curiosity. I love the way the cover looks like a 32X box. This is on Amazon. Again, the complete Sega 32X guide. I need to write a book.
I was gonna say, I want to fleece people.
Sure, we know that. You're like you're a flim flam man.
I don't know
Full
if book's
flame.
the way to do it.
I did write a book with my brothers. We wrote a 90s Disney book, and there was like a guy on the line to publish it, and then he just disappeared. So we had this book
mysteriously
Well, if
vanished.
it's written, why you do that thing where it's like people can
Self-pub.
self-pub and like on demand they can
you
press
already
it.
did the book. What do you do? What are you complaining
I
about?
know.
Is it like laid out or is it just the text?
What's that?
Is it just the text or have you guys already like laid it out and everything?
Oh, it's been like laid out and everything.
Oh,
So
well,
it's pretty
shoot,
much-
then okay.
Oh.
Then get that PDF up on there and
Yeah, it's
start
like
selling it.
Amazon can do it.
I would
right?
buy it.
Mike,
Yeah.
here's
well,
what you
I
do.
gotta edit it and stuff. again.
You go to Bon Yellow, get him to write a forward for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I've been telling my brothers I'll figure that out. About the time when this all happened was also when everything started kind of popping off for me with
Oh, it's Giant Bomb's fault.
All
Giant
right.
Bomb, and I've been
Hey,
too busy.
buddy.
There's
Sorry.
all
Holding
these,
you back, Mike.
Sorry.
it's just this massive weight of success. It's just keeping me from my Disney book publishing dreams. I'm gonna get on that.
God, is Mike Minotti the Drake of Giant Bomb?
Yes.
Is
1,000,000%.
that like a Josh and Drake? Is that what that is?
No.
See? Do you see?
Oh no, you mean the way more famous Drake? Oh, I'm sick. That was not
Oh,
a
you were
joke.
serious, huh?
That was not a
Yes,
joke. Oh
of
God.
course he was.
I was like, why was Drake the one that had like crazy get rich quick schemes or something?
No,
I don't
that's
know.
Josh. Don't worry.
That's
Drake's
not-
good.
How is he
I
a person?
I
How
love
is he a
also
person?
how he puts them out of order. It's Drake and Josh. I've never heard anyone say Josh and Drake.
Is that right? It's not Josh and Drake. It's
Like someone saying Kellen Keenan.
yeah. That's fucked up. I never actually see Drake and Josh, not Josh and Drake and Josh. I never really watched it.
It
I don't know
hurts
why
my-
it's what I thought of then first.
It hurts my
Buy my
mouth
book.
to say that.
Buy your book. Why don't you set up a pre-order? Get that going.
Yeah,
Also, buy my book. That it'll be stupid. Anyway. Speaking about stupid, let's get to something incredibly not stupid, and those are your emails. Emails.
Yeah, Drake was in Oppenheimer, right? He was the button pusher. That's right.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah.
that was Josh Peck.
I can't keep him straight.
It's
Wow,
all right.
you sound like a stupid ass.
Yeah. I think it was actually a Fantasian pressed it, I think, actually.
There was nothing but white people in that movie. Bombcast at giantbomb.com is the email address to send your emails to, and I love and appreciate and read all of them, no matter what they're about. I'm slightly freaked out about whatever the fuck is going on with the video right now, but I'm going to choose to disregard that and trust in your emails. First email comes from Eli from Austin. Eli writes in and says, like most nerds my age, I was obsessed with Final Fantasy VII growing up. My friends and I would talk about it endlessly. Tifa was maybe my first crush. Sephiroth was the coolest motherfucker around. I loved everything about that game. But I don't think I've ever finished any other Final Fantasy game. I think I played maybe 20 hours of 15 and then stopped playing it. And I never even touched the older Pixel Final Fantasies. I just feel complete apathy for the rest of the series. You'll have any series that you don't really care about, but there's that one game in the series that you adore for some reason or another. Also, Jerf is an insane person for not watching movies in a single sitting. Eli
Oh,
from
get
Austin-
some real problems, motherfucker. Come on.
Eli from Austin sent from my MacBook while at work.
I don't watch movies in a single sitting, but not because I don't want to. I wish I was, but like life just gets in the way these days.
Yeah, like these are the words of someone who has nothing important going on. I mean, come on.
All right,
Still watch movies. They're not very good anyways.
like, oh man, this is a very Dan Reichert ass take. Is all I'm gonna say. Where it's like, what else could you possibly be doing besides drinking beer and eating McDonald's?
That sounds pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, put my kids to bed.
Yeah, dealing with life.
For me, a long time, the answer to this question probably would have been Hitman, because I only cared about Hitman 2016. And now this one, it's like, well, then Hitman 2 came out, Hitman 3 came out. And I'm like, I was planning to go back to Blood Money. I probably will play the rest of them, not all of them, and care about them. But Hitman's like the closest answer to me for this. I don't have anywhere it's like I only played the one and never touched another one.
First off, you should play some more Final Fantasies. They're pretty neat. But I played Silent Hill 2 and did really like it, and then never had a desire to like play any other ones. Part of the problem is that
You're
almost
scared.
everyone says, "No,
You're
I'm
scared
not anymore. I'm not a big boy now. I'm in my my brave phase. I'm not afraid anymore." But
Your
I
brave
don't know.
arc.
Yeah, this is my brave character arc. But part of the problem is that when there's a franchise, maybe that happened with 7 for him a bit, where everyone talks about 1 the most, like being the best one. That way happens with Silent Hill 2. And obviously people like other Silent Hills. But I was kind of like, well, I played the best one. I don't really know why I need to go and play all these other ones. Or at least it's not a priority.
Kind of answering this question, but I'm sorry, Mike Minotti. I'm sorry to have to say this in front of you.
Thank you,
Uh-oh.
man.
Exactly. I've never quite cared for normal Mega Man 1 through 8 or whatever they're at now, or the X
11.
games.
11, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
I think that's totally fair.
But as we know, I love the Battle Network games, and I also like the Mega Man Zero games.
Zero games
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are hard too. Those are some of the hardest ones. But they have a bit more character stuff in it, whereas like X has a little bit. The normal games have like none.
They're more anime, I guess, is why.
Yes. Zero is definitely much more anime. X is pretty decently anime also, but a different flavor. But yeah, maybe that's why I like normal Mega Man. It's like flavor of anime is Saturday morning cartoon anime, and I'm like, this is cozy. I like that just fine.
I only played Fallout 3.
Oh, that's interesting. Play New Vegas.
Every other Fallout. I guess I touched New Vegas a little bit, more than I touched 4. And then I'm sure there's other Fallout games, but Fallout 3 was dope. Fallout 3 is good. I loved it. I played it to completion and really dug it. And then I was like, I think I'm good on that. Just kept living my life.
I should play New Vegas.
I should also play New Vegas.
I know.
Yeah, New Vegas is fun.
New Vegas is probably like one of the most Jeff Grubb games I've never played.
Oh, interesting.
Really like it a lot. Way up your alley. Then you agree with me about Fallout 4 being mid after you play New Vegas.
We'll see. Maybe.
What's important is that you like something else. That's what'll make me happy.
Yes. What's important is I fix my opinions to align with Mike Minotti.
Validate me.
Yeah, I guess I'm like that with Pikmin 4 now. I guess I'm like this, but I think a lot of people are like it with Baldur's Gate now, or Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I've heard that a bunch now. Yeah.
I mean, I almost barely even think of Baldur's Gate 3 as the third game in a series in a lot of ways. Kind of just this thing that happened. I did play a lot of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. That was a lot of fun,
buddy.
Yeah, Elf Song Tavern, that the Tavern Keeper or whatever there.
Oh yeah.
Oh mama.
Auga.
Yeah, there you go.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, Auga. Yeah.
Next email comes from Jared in Iowa. Hey crew, I've been playing a ton of Balatro since it dropped on Tuesday, and after seeing Jan post a picture of his Balatro fit, it got me thinking, what would your Balatro Joker card ability be? Mine would be to give +4 multi for every time a blind is skipped, as I'm all about doing as little work as possible while making myself just useful enough that you don't want to get rid of me. Cheers, Jared in Iowa.
I think I should get like +3 multi for just not playing a flush, because it's very difficult for me to do anything aside from flush builds.
I would be like, you get a bonus for like a random set of cards, and it changes every round because I can't remember what they were last time because of bad memory. So it would be like 5, 7, ace, and 2, and it would just be completely random each time.
Mine would be your goes up the more money you spend.
Yeah, I'm probably in line with that, Jan. I'm always at $0 at the end of every fucking turn, you know?
At first I was like, I don't want these jokers that just give me money. I need multipliers. Multipliers. Having money can help though. That
Yeah, I
really
started
can.
using the deck that gives you money instead of
Yeah,
interest.
that's the last one I won with, and
Yeah.
even just having like $10 extra at the beginning that can really
Yeah.
help you get rolling.
The interest, that's the yellow deck, the interest deck?
Yeah,
Mm.
I think it was the yellow deck.
Yeah, or
I think there's
green.
Yes,
some
yellow
money.
deck.
The green deck is the one you're thinking of back.
Yeah, green deck, you're right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, mind you, you just start with $10 from the beginning.
Yeah, I hope they will, or it's just one person, right? I hope this person will, like, I'm sure there's a plan to just add more stuff in, or like new, like, right? Like, of course, like
More decks, more joke. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's got to be poker, so like we can add Go Fish cards. So that would be fun.
Yeah, they did this with Uno. I don't know how that would work.
Say, if I was the Uno people, if I was Mr. Uno, I would be on the phone right now.
Please, Mr. Uno is my father. Call me Daryl. Trying to think of a Uno
oh,
name.
Derry Uno, how you doing?
Daryl Uno.
Next email is about the 3DS and comes from David from Roanoke, Virginia. Hello, Bombinos. I was helping my sister move out of my parents' house, and I found my year one 3DS that I let her borrow almost 10 years ago. The only games I have on it are Mario Kart 7, the fourth Smash Bros. Game, and some other weird games like Project XZ1 and Code of Princess. Since the 3DS store is down, my options are to buy physical media. What are some games that are worth the cost? Parentheses, should I just emulate it on my PC? What's the point of keeping this 3DS? Love what you do. Wish I could do it. David from Roanoke, Virginia.
Hack it. Hack
3DS.guide. 3DS.guide.
Hack that thing immediately. Even I hacked a 3DS. It's very easy, and you'll just get all the games. And 3DS games are going to be so much more satisfying on your 3DS,
On 3DS.
Yeah,
with the 3D slider than doing some emulator on your computer.
And let's be clear. It's so easy, especially once you have it set up. You're like, well, now I got to go track down the games. No, you don't. There's a thing called the H shop that gets installed when you do the hack, and it's just an eShop, but illegal. It's great. It's awesome. And you just go to the store, this filthy, dirty pirate store, and get all the games that way. It's not like Nintendo will sell them to you if you want to buy them. So just go get the H shop, have that on your 3DS, and then whenever you like someone talks about a game, like, oh, I want to play that. Oh, I'll just turn on my 3DS and go find it and download it and not have to do any extra work. It's fantastic. So yeah, just make that happen.
I'm disappointed. I thought when you said H shop, my eyes lit up because I thought it was something else.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's just Steam, though. Honestly.
Oh, right.
Lots of good games on 3DS. Link Between Worlds, Legend of Zelda game is probably the best one you can get on there. Fire Emblem Awakening is still my favorite. Fire Emblem, both of the Kirby games, Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot,
those are really good.
Tons of fun. Yeah, I actually talked about Bravely Default, Bravely Second earlier. If you like JRPGs, gosh, yeah, just tons and tons of good stuff.
The later releases, WarioWare Gold and Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix wasn't too late, but those are actually really good.
I think that's Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time 3D are the best way to play those N64 Zelda games still to this day. Kid Icarus Uprising is something of a cult hit now.
Oh my god!
The 3D remakes of like older 8-bit and 16-bit games. Streets of Rage
3D.
is really good. Outrun is incredible. Excitebike's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
Not a bad version of Snake Eater even.
Something that I noticed this morning after doing the Pokemon Direct, I was talking to my partner, and my partner and I are about to celebrate our 8-year anniversary. So, really, it's 2 years because it's February 29th, Leap Day.
Womp womp.
Wah, wah. But she's been around me for 8-ish years now. She knows what I do for a living, right? She knows what the video games are. I tell her what this is. She has a Nintendo Switch that I borrow because mine broke. And I was telling her, it's like, yeah, there's going to be a new Pokemon game. You might be into it later. It's like the one that you didn't like. And she was like, oh, what are they putting it out on? The DS? I'm like, What?
Wow.
Whoa. The DS? Whoa.
Wow.
It's kind of
even-
changes stuff.
Not even the 3DS? You're going DS?
Hell yeah,
Yes.
that rules.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I was
That's
like,
is that like Dan's dad who keep making games for the Wii?
Yes.
maybe.
So are you guys like on the outs now? Like what's happening?
Yeah.
Like sleeping
run.
in different rooms?
We
Like, what's
just
going on?
moved, so we gotta hang tough.
If you
Yeah.
explained it, like she would they'd be like, yeah, of course, like, yeah, and I was just wrong because like Dan's dad is like, no, I'm pretty sure you're wrong, Dan.
Oh,
the Wii was
yeah.
very popular. They're still
Oh.
making games for that.
Oh, how dare we compare anyone to Dan's
Right.
dad? I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There
come
is
on.
no comparison.
I just looked at her. I'm like, wait, you have a Switch?
yeah, like
When's the last time you thought about a DS?
Maybe
When have
Rich
we
thinks about
said
DS
the
every day.
words Nintendo DS in this household?
I found a DSi at my place a couple weeks
really?
ago.
They're nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
I
that
gotta
thing?
think. Is she thinking about the DS Lite or like the DS Fat?
She's probably
no
thinking
one
about a
thinks
light, right?
No,
That's what
about the fat.
Yeah, no one's thinking
Probably.
about that one.
that was. A really ugly piece of machine. That thing was bad. I hated looking at it. Like today, I probably would appreciate it more.
Yeah.
But it's not one that's like, oh, it's like kitschy or kitsch. How do you say that? Whatever. Where it's like, oh, like I have like,
Kitschy?
yeah, kitschy. Thank you. Where I have like an affinity towards. Like, no, I think that thing's still pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's like someone blew up a little Lego piece. You know, like that
Yeah.
little corner piece. It's
Uh-huh.
just fucking. What are we doing?
And
it's
I
good.
do really want to play A Link Between Worlds again. I haven't played since that first time, and it is.
Oh, really?
I
Got
love how
it.
you crossed your arms as you were saying that. You're
You
like,
gotta
this time
address
I'm
Dan
gonna
Riker. You gotta just protect yourself.
The forums are very like intimidating, so this is my power stance.
It was. I was playing Mario Maker this morning through some of those levels, and something really stupid happened. And then, of course, like everyone's like, "Dan's calling you right now. Dan's trying to get in the call." I'm like, I let him in, and he just starts laughing. In the first like 2 minutes, is him just laughing at me. So
like you should really limit your time with that. It seems like a mental health issue, or like.
it is. Honestly, I feel better after that than after the 10 hours of Balatro I played over the weekend, where I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
yeah. Well, it was just like again, because like I am like putting off responsibilities to play Balatro, and
Sure,
that always
sure.
feels terrible.
Well,
Now,
just
you didn't
streaming.
agree with me, but I think there's something like about feeling guilty about playing Balatro because it has casino aesthetics.
No, I think you're onto something for sure. Yes, but I just knew that it's like it goes beyond that for me, where it's like, no, it was because I like didn't do the dishes. That's
Oh,
why I was
sure.
feeling bad.
Yeah, but dishes are fine where they are in the sequel. They're not hurting
I agree with
anybody.
you, Mike. Very good point.
Who can argue with that?
Oh, you gotta make your bed. Why? I was gonna go back in the bed.
Emmy started getting this kick about making her bed. I'm like, no, we
Oh.
don't do that in this house.
I don't-
I became a big fan of what's his face, huh?
Yeah, she's a huge Jordan Peterson stan. Yeah.
I don't know. All of a sudden, like in the last 6 months, making the bed has become like a thing in my house, and I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, it's weird. I never really saw the point, right? Because like you said, we're gonna mess it up here again by the end of the night. But I mean, it does look nice when you walk in the room. So I get people.
Is that what it is? It's just for like that pop where you're
Yeah,
like,
I think it's for the
"Ah."
pop.
Like I get that a little bit. There are so many other things I want to clean or like tidy up first. than
Exactly.
The bed. I guess it's easy. I don't know. My mom would try to like make me feel bad, like I had to make the bed because you wouldn't. I was like, I didn't ask you to do that.
Can
I didn't care.
Something
I
else
ask
going
y'all-
on there, right? You know?
Can I ask y'all gents something?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
Jen.
Is this a
We're here
white
for you.
people question? Is
No,
that why
no.
does it feel okay?
The Council of Whites have come to aid you, Jan. Go ahead with your question.
This is really good.
Let us unpack our culture for you.
Have y'all ever vacuumed your mattress?
I think I
No.
did. I think you mentioned this recently, and then I did a little bit, and I was getting kind of scared of how much stuff was coming out.
If anything, I'll get one of those roller like sticky things that you use to get
Well,
like
that's a
pet hair
limb
off of
roller.
your- Yeah,
No.
I'll
Mike,
use that
that's-
if anything.
No,
What-
y'all. Next time you change your sheets.
No. I don't want to know. I don't
No,
want to
you'll be a better person after this.
No,
backfire.
no. What's gonna happen? Is it gonna like turn black and you're
Don't
gonna
like
be
mattresses gain like 60 pounds of weight over?
Stop!
like, over the course of using
60
it?
pounds?
It's like something insane.
Continues to like seep through and trickle
Yeah.
down and shit.
60 pounds.
Like it's
On
probably
the
not
bright
that
side,
bad. Listen, I don't know what I'm talking
Mattresses
about
are
half the
very
time.
reasonably priced. We could just get new ones.
Yeah, that,
I've never heard of anyone vacuuming their naked mattress. That just sounds.
Yo,
I mean, it sounds logical. I'm just
Hey.
terrified of the results. I think.
How much would someone have to pay you after you vacuum the mattress to get a teaspoon of it in your mouth?
Why would you
Oh
do that?
my God,
How
Mike!
much?
Why is your brain operating
much?
like that?
How much
What the fuck?
would you do it for? $500.
No. And also, I don't want to see this through. I don't want to see any of this through. It just seems so fucking demented. What are we doing?
Jeff, don't say no because you think a better offer is coming. $750, Jeff, for a spoonful of your mattress dust.
No, that's not enough.
You don't have to swallow. You just got to get a big mouthful.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool.
Thanks for your permission to spit, Mike Minotti. I would probably still say no. Sorry, bud.
I have a number in mind, and you're nowhere near it.
All
so.
right.
Yeah, I do
How
think
much?
I'm 5 figures.
How much,
Yeah,
Mike?
$1,200, Jan.
My partner is the cleanest person I've ever met. So yeah.
Okay. Dude, for $1,200.
Yeah.
That is so much sicker than me getting a Mr. Slate tattoo. Like, it's not even on the same radar. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
Think about all the times in your sleep you may
Oh.
have passed gas.
Oh my God. You were just
Dead skin, probably, that you're putting in your mouth.
Yeah, dead
Cool,
skin
yeah,
and
cool,
fart
awesome.
particles.
farticles, please.
Particles, dead skin, and lint. I feel like bug shit particles, probably.
Het dander.
Yeah.
They're just like stuff.
Like sweat.
Yeah, I just again like
Sadness.
Ardent
this
sweat.
is this is just a thing I just cannot get on board
Ejaculate.
with. I just,
All right.
All right. Well, I mean,
I just can't.
All right.
I just can't.
you're
The
doing
bridge too
something
far.
wrong there, Chief.
The bridge too far.
Okay, we talked about Mario Maker. That next email is about
Cool.
Mario
Yeah,
Maker.
we'll pivot into whatever this is.
Hello, Jeff and Jeff adjacent persons. Last Friday, Dan was watching a level in Mario Maker that he made himself 9 years ago. He then went, wait, what the fuck is that? Why did I do that? That's so stupid. My question is, if that quote was instead said by God, what did he see on Earth to make him make such a comment?
Dan
Jeff-
Reichert.
Such a good question. By the way, Jeff from Quebec, like I like you. Good question. I like you a lot.
Yeah, he saw the film adaptation of Cats.
Where are the buttholes?
Where's the butthole cut? I deliberately put buttholes on those cats. Man has gone too far trying to
God's
play
will
me.
is buttholes.
God saw Annette and was like, "What?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? What was that? Why
Could
did I
God
do
make
that?
a movie so in that even he wouldn't be able to handle it? Yeah, I think so.
What was I
I am
thinking?
a good father, son, and the Holy Spirit.
I need to see this moment where Dan was upset at what he did a
happened a
decade
lot.
ago.
It
Yeah,
happened a
Why?
lot.
He didn't remember any of
dude,
it.
10 years ago is an incredible amount of time. Like, come on.
Even for a normal person, it'd be difficult. Let alone Dan, who I had to remind like 20 times the difference between Blaze the Cat and Amy Rose the Hedgehog while he was playing Sonic 06. Yeah, it wasn't gonna happen.
So what was it like? Why was he up? Was he just like there was a better way to do it, or he just thought it was
no.
stupid?
I think it was very convoluted, the actual solution and path to beat the level, that Grubb had spent maybe like an hour and a half going in a specific direction.
Yeah.
That is not the actual solution.
Oh, that's just needlessly like
Yeah, the dead
mean.
end.
Right?
That's the
Yeah.
entire level. Yes, that's
Cool.
exactly
Okay.
what Dan makes.
What,
Yes.
what a piece of
Yeah.
shit. Okay, cool.
So it's all about finding the critical path.
That's right. It's
That's-
a
oh.
Mike
It's always
Minotti
been.
game.
It's always
The
been.
trial and error. I mean, come on. If you're designing levels through that, I mean, you're just
My favorite part of that UPF, which I suggest everyone check out, is when Patrick, Dan, and I are checking the successful run after Patrick had been playing that level for who knows how long.
Something like 8
Yeah.
hours, they said, maybe longer.
8 hours or so. And then one of us saying, I think it might have been me saying, like, were you inspired by Half-Life to do this?
Yes.
And then Grubb just being flabbergasted and breaking down as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I'm
need
like,
to
what
watch
could you possibly mean?
What could that possibly mean?
I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it, Jan, and I'm like, what? How does that even translate to this game?
I
Like-
want to tell you. I really
No,
do.
like
but
I'll
then-
figure it out. I want the moment of figuring these things out.
It's like Dan seeing a Rorschach blob and being like, "There's only one thing to see there, and you should all see the same thing I see." And now do my Mario Maker level.
Yeah, like you said, trial and error, but with Dan, it's like trials and tribulations and error. Like he is a tribulation upon this earth.
I
What is
think
a
I said that.
tribulation?
No, I did
Define
say
so-
this.
Great trouble, great suffering.
I said this earlier in the chat when you were playing Mario Maker this morning, but it is exactly like Assassin's Creed. Nothing is true, everything is permitted.
Yeah, jeez.
That's Dan's level design, baby.
And now I'm like I started with one of the doable levels that they made on the Giant Bomb streams with the chat, and even that's like I'm figuring it out, but it's still pretty difficult. So I'm like, God, one of these other levels where I have no idea and don't even really know where to begin. That's gonna be really rough, and I'm gonna have to detective it. I'm gonna have to like slowly, piece by piece, figure out every single little thing.
Are we gonna get to go backstage at like wrestling though? At least
I coughed when you said that. What?
are we gonna get to go backstage at wrestling at least? Like Patrick did.
No.
I mean, it sounds like he's just gonna send Big E out to kill me. So I don't know.
Can I be there?
Yeah, you could be there while he kills me. Sure, man.
That'd be great.
You could
You gotta-
support him or me, whoever you feel need to support in the moment.
All right, now you're being funny.
Next email is from Paul. They write in about pinball.
Oh,
Hi, Bombers. John wrote in last week about how to learn to play pinball. I wanted to add my own 2 cents and say that I invested in all the Pinball FX tables as they went on sale, and I find that their recreations of real life tables are a good way to practice. Obviously, nothing comes close to the real deal, but they have some instructions on how to play all the games in an easy to follow, step by step manner. It helped me go from merely flipping the flippers to targeting specific lanes and objectives. I highly recommend it. Plus, the tables are cheap. Paul.
yeah, for classic games, that's not a bad idea at all. You know, you're just not going to get anything in like the last 10 years or so if you want to play like modern ones.
My bar that has pinball machines, they got an Indiana Jones machine in. It was like with the first 4 movies. It was pretty fun though. The multi-ball was neat because it literally tipped over an actual Ark of the Covenant and like
Yeah.
all the pinballs dropped from it. That was a lot of fun.
That
I
one's
don't know.
pretty old too.
Yeah, but probably was like when King of the Crystal Skull was relatively newish. I'm guessing
Yeah.
when they did that. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
right on.
that's
That's
a
a
good
good.
time.
That's a good game. Good game.
yeah, but I also have a Munsters pinball machine. I just think it's funny that there's a Munsters pinball machine.
That's the one with the underplay field too, right? There's like a see-through part.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
like
think
that.
I don't think people are really too hot on that game, but I enjoyed the times I've played it.
Just like the Munsters, you know.
Sure.
Eddie Munster. Yeah.
Yep.
He's got
that-
that laugh.
That's the guy.
I think I was always too much of an Adams Family loyalist.
I think
Dude,
I'd take the Munsters over the Adams Family any day. I gotta be honest. I'm sorry.
the worst. That's the worst
Sorry.
take Minotti's ever like it's a bad take, but it's also a very Mike Minotti. Like I
Is it?
get where you're coming from. Like yeah,
what could you possibly be basing that on? Like
It's the mom,
two-
isn't it? It's
the
the
two
mom.
Adams Family movies in the 90s are treasures. And
Yeah.
I realize they're not the same. It's like, you
to
know,
be fair, the Munsters are the origin of Dragula. So if it's based on
Cool.
that, then I'm all aboard.
so
But it's not
Minotti, you're
based on
about
that,
to
'cause
tell
Mike
me
doesn't know
you're,
what Dragula is.
oh, he's like a
now,
huge
you can-
Rob Zombie fan. Is that what's happening?
He's
Like,
not really, no.
so yeah, so like make your case, you fool.
I think that there's more heartwarming moments in the Munsters.
He's a
What?
cozy guy. He likes
I-
cozy things.
Yeah, I think that Adams Family is a little one note. Like I get it.
Wait,
I just like
what?
old sitcoms, and I think Munsters is more like an actual old sitcom.
So you're talking just about like the old black and white sitcoms.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, look, we could the movies. Yeah, that's fine too. But I don't know. I just Eddie Munster's nice, and he's always giving heartwarming speeches. There's that clip. There's that viral clip where the daughter or something was like, people are mean, and Eddie Munster explains why racism is bad or something. I'm like, that's nice, Eddie Munster.
Oh, so now you're saying that if we like the Adams Family, we like
We're racist.
racism.
Yeah.
well,
Cool.
Look, I'm not saying it,
That's-
but.
That is a
I
Latino
keep saying
family.
Eddie Munster. Herman Munster. Who's Eddie Munster?
He's the kid, right?
I
I
just
don't know.
like I'm perfectly okay with like giving you the old 60s sitcoms.
Yeah,
like,
if we're talking about the
like,
sitcoms, I think I probably would have more fun watching the Munsters.
yeah,
too.
like sure, but like anyone who's
made
like
that
relevant and walking around in 2024 is not like
Rod
wow, the
Zombie
Munsters.
made a Munsters movie like last year that's supposed to be terrible.
Right? Was it like animated?
On
No.
purpose?
No, it's
No, it
live
wasn't?
action. It's live
Weird.
action, and it's supposed to be awful. I kind of maybe need to see it.
Cool.
I think
Yeah.
Ronnie
Okay.
needs
to.
Michael R. O'Leary says it's garishly live action, and I
Oh,
definitely need to
incredible.
see that. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, what's going on with Ridge Racer? Did you uncover anything about the future? That's
No, I was too busy watching old episodes of Munsters.
well, that's okay.
Yeah, you get it.
Y'all, the Munsters movies on Netflix. Easy to find.
All right.
Sure it is.
I'll
sure
just put it on
is.
TV and see what happens. See if my kids are into
Unless
it.
Christopher Lloyd is playing Fester in it, I don't give a shit.
Why would he
We all
play
like
Fester?
Christopher
That's
Lloyd.
Exactly.
the Munsters.
Exactly.
God, those Addams Family movies are so good.
They're so good. They
They're
are
like true
so
classics.
phenomenal.
Yep.
Even the second one, which had
Even the
no
second
right
one.
to be good,
Yep.
was excellent.
Y'all, I need to get this off my chest because I don't know where else I'm gonna get the chance to say it.
Please.
Yeah, go shoot, bud.
And I know that I like most of everything or try to find the,
Your
the
consumer jam,
positives.
we know. Yes.
I was DJ, consumer jam. Yo, the live action Avatar, Last Airbender, it's not as fucking bad as ever the internet.
Hey, yeah, let's go.
Oh, even this, Jan. Even this.
Yes!
Y'all need
And
to
it does
fucking
not everything needs a defender.
no.
I love
This one I'll defend because y'all need to fucking get over your fucking life in assuming that a television show is gonna fucking fix you. All right.
I like that. I do like that take. I like that take a
All
lot.
right, okay, keep cooking.
Go Earthbend and fucking touch some grass. People fucking saying that the M. Night Shyamalan movie is better than this are fucking broken inside in more ways than anything is ever. Any piece of media is gonna fix you, dog.
I did get, we did a Mount Rushmore JRPGs, and it was like one of the first times where I got kind of frustrated with the fandom getting like coming back at us about that one. Because they like every single one of them, like, these aren't the best JRPGs. And I know no matter how many times they explain that it's not necessarily the criteria, they just couldn't get their mind around it. I'm like, how do you not know what Mount Rushmore is? And it's like, no, they're just, all they consume is anime. They don't think about anything else. I'm like, you guys need to just like spread your wings a little bit. Please go touch some grass, earthbend, as you said.
And here's the thing, y'all. Like, I admit, there's some creative liberties that I don't fucking agree with. I don't like all of the casting. Costumes are okay. CGI could be better. Wigs, absolutely atrocious. But the parts that they did nail in the casting, fucking nailed. All right. And also, yo, come close, babies. Come close. This is the first time one of the first times I've gotten to watch anything that's primarily Asian. So I'm going to ask that the Council of Whites just let this keep happening. Let this one slide and let's get a season 2.
You have
and
our
3.
blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On behalf of all white people.
Also, the fucking cartoon is still going to fucking be there.
Yeah.
Y'all
Got erased.
fucking
The only
chill out.
last Airbender me I ever consumed was the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
My
So,
God.
I don't
That
have
is-
an opinion in this. I don't have a say.
That movie is a stain on humanity.
When can I start watching that show with the girls? They are 5 and 7 now.
The cartoon,
Yeah.
they could watch it now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you think they would appreciate? Do they would like it, or would it be?
They would
I don't know.
100% like it, and I think
Okay.
it'd be something that they'd eventually revisit and be like, "Oh wow, this is about that."
Dan wants me to show them 24. Addie's already in the room half the time when I was watching 24. So
I
she's
mean,
big
anyone
into-
can watch 24. It's the
Yeah.
most saccharine bullshit ever. Like you can just, it's easy.
Saccharin? Is that really what it is?
I just think, well, not saccharine. It's just like it's so low stakes and like
Unimportant.
benign.
I thought that like there's nukes involved.
No,
yeah, but
it
that's
takes itself.
day-to-day shit for Jeff Bakalar.
It's so unserious that you can't believe anything that's happening in that fucking
Oh, that's fair.
catastrophe of a television program. Speaking of white people news,
Oh,
John
they're New
Waters.
Balances?
John Waters. Do you guys know who John Waters is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The number one white.
The first white person. He's making his first movie in 20 years with Aubrey Plaza.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds
right.
fantastic.
Oh, man.
Gotta
Are
love.
they gonna kill a chicken in this one? Are they gonna eat dog shit at the end of this one too?
That
so.
is phenomenal news for
Right.
anyone who likes freaky deaky cinema.
Oh, John Waters, you can have it. Make Audrey Plaza have a spoonful of the vacuum dust from a mattress at the end of the movie.
All right. I was going to read another email, but after thinking of a spoonful of my bed, I can't fathom reading anything else.
Spoonful of bed helps the medicine go down.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of stuff popping off, as always, on giantbomb.com. Game S mornings for the rest of the week. Brett Grubb?
Yeah, Game S mornings for the rest of the week. That's right. Gonna have one tomorrow morning, and it'll be good and fun and informative. Even I'm gonna make this one informative.
There we go. There we go. Perhaps, maybe the finale of Blake Club
Oh God, that's tomorrow.
Mortal Kombat Mythologies.
I misspoke earlier when I said the number one white. The number one white is Quan Chi, of course. So
Yeah. God, Jeff, what do you think? Do you think I just go back to that last level? You think I try
God,
to get a better
Mike,
save file?
if I were you, I would butt my head against the save file I have, and I think because of that, you're probably better off going back to Bridgeview and just being a responsible young man.
Going back to Bridgeview is so miserable.
I know, you're right. Well, okay. Here's my real advice. Go back to Bridgeview at the beginning of the stream. If it goes bad, give up right away. But there's a chance that you're gonna have that thing where I took a break, I came back, and now this is easy for some reason. So
Oh, I didn't realize you got yourself into a bad spot there.
yeah, he's got a bad save file.
Yeah, because like your save file keeps how many lives and continues and items you have. So my save file right now is no lives and no continues. So like I get one shot at the last level with no checkpoints, and the last level was very difficult. So it's frustrating. But that level before it, also very frustrating. It just getting past it once was kind of a challenge. So doing that again just seems miserable. It makes it feel like I didn't actually make any progress, even though I did. So I don't know. We'll see.
I wish you nothing but the best, Mike.
I'll be done with this game tomorrow if I can beat it. I just really want to get a Dan record.
You know what? I'm gonna. Dan's up next, right? He's gonna do the Superman thing.
Can I buy the costume and send him the game back, Alar?
Yeah, I need to. Is there something I can do to like make it worse for him? Like I feel like I haven't put my thumb on the scales at all here.
Well, we could think of something. We can always like call on Alex too if we need to like get some recommendations.
Like I just want to, sometimes you just got to see someone sweat a little more,
He's not. Yeah. Oh, he's played one game. Me and Mike have both played 3.
Like he gets away with too much shit.
He gets away with a lot.
Maybe you should have to write a review when he's done about Superman 64. He could contribute to its Metacritic.
Well, I'm not a psycho, Mike Minotti.
Maybe he make Patrick write a
book report.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta let's everyone have a think on this.
As long as it involves him playing, Superman 64. I'm not changing that.
Yeah, let's figure it out together.
I have a couple ideas in my back pocket.
Great, love it.
Some of them are more physical than you'd think. We also got an episode of Voicemail Dump Truck this week, and no BCR this week because we're just gonna do a fat UPF.
Yeah, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy for quite some time.
I believe Tam and Lucy are going to be hopping in and co-piloting with Grubb. Final Tam, Lucy.
That's good.
Re-Grubb.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably gonna play some Marzette on Thursday. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna try to just beat it on stream.
Yeah, you probably can.
Yeah. Oh, you could do that.
That's the plan.
Actually, there's a lot of people watching who might even be there who know what to do next too.
Perfect,
so.
and that's fine. I'm not worried about spoilers.
That game's very good about maybe some things are frustrating, but every single screen is like a checkpoint. There's infinite lives, and there's checkpoints even within those screens. So death is not too much of a setback.
There we go. Death is not quite a setback.
Death is not a setback.
Can't trust a sorcerer sometimes.
You can trust the sorcerer sometimes, and you can trust me that this podcast has come to a close. We will see you next week for another episode of the Giant Bombcast. It'll be 8:30 next week. Holy smokes. Love a good number, and I love you for listening. I appreciate you for listening. So does Jeff. So does Earl. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Giant Bombcast.
It's going to be March next episode.
Shut the front door.
The month of Jeff.
We should do like a March Madness.
Ooh.
I don't know of what.
Of brain disease.
All right. And we are back.
Oh, Sean has an idea for March Madness. How much you want to bet it involves Pokemon?
Oh no, I think it involves. I think I know what it is.
All these are just low punny.
All right, let's see who is online.
And I'm gonna have to yell at fucking AT&T because what the fuck?
What? Your internet?
My internet's just garbo right now.
My internet. You told me I had good internet.
Oh, I like this character.
I know. Slip into that guy.
Christian
every now
on
and then.
Twitch. Apparently, Christian's on Twitch, Jeff.
Huh?
Oh, Christian.
Yeah, we can rate Christian.
Yeah, let's raid Christian. But let's clap first.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
Was he lying? Was he lying to me? He was joking. That's not a joke. That's just a lie, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a Dan Reichert thing to do.
That's not a joke.
I got this problem where I have a Twitch app on my TV, and so sometimes it'll pick up from where I left off, and I'll be going through these streamers about who we're gonna raid, and it's like sometimes I'll click on like a VTuber with like a big chest, and I'm like, okay, well, we're not gonna go there. I'll go to this next one. And then I'll go upstairs, and it's like, do you want to continue watching this VTuber with the giant chest with your wife sitting in the room with you? Like, thank you.
And then you say
Twitch.
yes.
And I'm like, of
Emphatic.
course, thank you. You know exactly what I needed.
It's all educational, like.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh yeah, I should play the Tekken 8 story mode. We'll find a time to do that. Yes.
God, we gotta do that too.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. All right.
I have time is.
up
Yep.
also.
Good to go.
Let's clap and beep respectively at 50 and 55. Beautiful.
Sean, my second set of beeps were way better than my first set of beeps. So
For some reason, my second set of beats were quiet on my end, but they're there. You'll see them. All right.
all right, get that going.
All right. And I guess we're not rating Christian. Fucking
he's-
liar.
He was a liar. He's like, I was on.
Fucking
we could,
liar.
we could raid remap.
There you go.
Damn, this is a gig.
Whoa. It was a big boy.
Did you have two? Do you have two tracks instead of mono?
No. I mean, it's just a 3-hour wave.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, 3 hours and 20 minutes because I started mine pretty early.
So we used to do these.
What do we even talk about other than bed
I
dust?
thought Sony a lot.
Bed dust Sony for sure.
A
Bed
lot.
dust Sony is
Quattro.
my favorite kind of Sony.
Oh, here. This is my favorite exercise to remember what we talked about is going through the episode titles. Trying to just beat it. Number one, white people news. Origin of Dragula. Thanks for the permission to spit.
I love
This
that.
is nuts, actually, to have this read out loud because it's like I would never remember this stuff if you weren't
you
reading
think
these.
something's gone from your mind forever.
All right, we're
right?
rating now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Like Brave Arc, 90% from the beach. Pizza French fry analogy. Oh, that was skiing.
Oh,
Remember
that was
we
the
talked about
skiing. Holy shit. That was in the 90s. Oh my god.
Oh, goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, Twitch.
Export.